An absolutely beautiful Saturday in Baltimore and a revved-up, sold-out crowd on hand at Camden Yards, hoping the Baltimore Orioles can put this series to bed, leading Seattle 2-0. And a pleasant good afternoon to you. Alongside the former Giant All-Star Bob Brenly, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome to the postseason here on Fox. So far, Bobby, Baltimore has looked like the best team in the American League.
Well, they've done everything right to this point. They've pitched better. They've hit better. They've played better defense, and the result, 2 9-3 victories.
As far as the pitchers are concerned, Lou Piniella thinks he has the right man on the mound in left-hander Jeff Fassero against Jimmy Key.
Both these guys won 16 games during the course of the season, but they're coming into the postseason from different directions. Fassero was the pitcher of the month in the month of September in the American League. Jimmy Key hasn't been as effective down the stretch, but he's always been a good big-game pitcher in his days with the Blue Jays and last year with the Yankees.
Well, the pitchers obviously a big story. So too are the juniors when these two teams get together. Great players, great careers, very different series. They are the sons of fathers from baseball and the game's two most popular players. Unquestionably their team's leaders, but with dramatically different styles. Cal Ripken Jr., the Iron Man. Always steady. And always sturdy. Ken Griffey Jr., explosive. Exuberant. And emotional. One junior has dominated. The other looks to explode after these messages from your local station. Sold out crowd here at Camden Yards in Baltimore for Game 3 of this American League Division Series. The Baltimore Orioles already in front of Seattle 2-0. And Cal Ripken Jr. has certainly come to play in this series, along with his mate on the left side, Mike Bordick. A big story thus far in the first 2 games.
Well, we talked to some of the Orioles coaches, and they said Bordick was swinging the bat well the entire last month of the season, but was not having a lot of success hitting line drives at people, hard ground balls right at people. But since the playoffs have started, that left side of the infield has taken command of this Orioles offense.
For Lou Piniella, meanwhile, and Seattle, they were the Western Division champions of the American League, accumulating 90 wins, and that's the man they need to get things going. Junior so far, just 1 hit in 7 at-bats the first 2 games.
Well, they've ran into a real buzzsaw in Mike Mussina and Scott Erickson, 2 outstanding pitched ball games. That will take the sting out of your bat a lot of times. They're expecting bigger things tonight because this entire Mariners lineup, with the exception of Joey Cora, has had quite an amount of success against Jimmy Key throughout their careers. You think of the 9 starters in the ball game today, their combined average .345 with 11 home runs against Jimmy Key.
And the Orioles, for the first time in 97 postseason play, take the field defensively. And their crowd hoping today is a day they can look ahead to the ALCS. Here's the Seattle lineup under manager Lou Piniella, and changes right away. Rich Amaral will lead off and play first base. Roberto Kelly is in left field, and we talked about Junior. Just 1 for 7 in the series and has 1 lone run batted in. That needs to change for Seattle to rally. Edgar the DH with Alex Rodriguez at short, Jay Buhner in right. Flowers will play third, Dan Wilson again the catcher, and Joey Cora, for just the 5th time all year, is dropped to the number 9 slot.
That's because Joey Cora is the one Mariner that has had problems against Jimmy Key, only 1 for 9 lifetime. Jimmy Key's one of those crafty left-handers. He throws a sinking fastball, throws a curveball, a slider. His best pitch by far is that changeup. You heard Psycho Lion say that's the key to his game. Needs to keep the ball down against this high-powered Mariners offense. They are very dangerous. You make mistakes, they'll hit it out of the ballpark. And needs to keep the pitch count down low. Mariners are an aggressive team. Make good pitches on the first pitch, let them get themselves out.
And defensively behind Jimmy Key, the left side of the infield, we talked about what they've done offensively. How about with the leather? Alomar and Palmeiro on the right side. Surhoff, Anderson, and Hammonds gets the nod in right field. We talked about Eric Davis. He underwent chemotherapy treatment yesterday, a little weak today, although he said he could come in late. A battery of Jimmy Key and Chris Hoyles.
I think unlike a lot of pitchers, normally a pitcher will try to establish his fastball early in the ball game and then work his breaking ball, work his off-speed pitches off of the fastball. I think in Jimmy Key's case, he is better off trying to establish his off-speed pitches. Throw a lot of breaking balls, throw a lot of change-ups, keep him out of the middle of the plate, but make the Mariners aware that he's going to throw a lot of off-speed pitches so that when he does throw that fastball, he'll be able to get inside on the right-handers. You see what Jimmy Key has done this season against the Mariners. The 12 walks, an unusually high number. He really needs to keep that ball down low in the zone. I mentioned earlier the Mariners are a good high fastball hitting team. Normally Jimmy Key does not throw a high fastball, but if he's struggling with his control, getting those pitches up, we could see some fireworks in this game tonight.
Like to remind you, Fox is always happy to offer the option of a Spanish broadcast to our viewers to hear the game in Spanish. You can hit the SAP button on your television. A late afternoon starting time here in Baltimore, and the lights already turned on at Camden Yards. So, Bobby, how much of an effect early will the shadows play?
Well, the shadows should really work in both pitchers' favor early in the ball game. You can see the shadow, rather, of the light standards across the field. Jimmy Key standing in the shadow, some sunlight between him and the plate, and then the plate is in the shadows.
Here we go. Amaral takes high and away, ball one, and we're underway at Camden Yards. Amaral only one at bat during the division series, and he was retired. 284 during the regular year with a home run and 21 batted in, and very good success against Jimmy Key. Well, Jimmy Key has pitched in so many big games. This is the first time in the postseason for 34-year-old Springfield, Illinois native Jeff Fassero. 2-1 to Amaral. He'll be followed by Kelly and then Junior. Davey Johnson trying to get the Orioles into the American League Championship Series, and he's gunning for his second World Series championship as a manager. That one hit down the right field line, and it bends into the seats. 2-2 to Amaral. We remember Johnson was the manager of the '86 New York Mets, who defeated Boston in the World Series.
As we got to look at Jeffrey Hammonds chasing that foul ball down the right field line, you can tell from the shadows on the outfielders there's going to be a lot of problems on balls hit to right center and right field today. Sun's still a very important factor in this ball game until it sinks away in the west and allows the lights to take over here at Camden Yards.
2-2 to Amaral. Missed down low and in, so a full count.
Of course, if the sun does not sink away in the west, we're all in trouble.
I was going to say we learn something new every day when Bob Brindley is on the air. The sun fading into the western sky. Beautiful look at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Amaral lifts it into right field. Hammonds battles the sun and makes the play.
Yeah, these are the only shadows you really worry a lot about, the ones around home plate. The pitcher's mound is just about to emerge into the sunlight again. The ball will be very visible as it leaves Jimmy Key's hand, but about halfway to home plate, the batters are going to lose it to some extent. The ball's going to change from the bright lit white horsehide and go into the shadows, and it's going to be tough to pick up. And for a breaking ball pitcher like Jimmy Key, that should really work to his advantage early.
Roberto Kelly doubled in each of the first two games and looks at a breaking ball down and in. Ken Griffey Jr. waits on deck here in the Mariners opening inning, trailing 2-0. But Lou Piniella firmly believes his team has a chance to send this to a decisive fifth game, which would be played on Monday. Back up through the middle, Alomar. Terrific play, throws, and Kelly's in there safely at first.
Batting third, the center fielder, number 24.
Alomar does everything he can to try to make this play, but his momentum is carrying him out into deep center field, or shallow center field rather. Throws back across his body a two-hopper, and really surprised to see Kelly sliding head first there. He can track that throw with his peripheral vision. He knows there's not going to be a play at first base. A very good way to injure yourself down there unnecessarily. Never penalize hustle, but misplaced hustle in that case.
And Bob, before Junior settles in, you brought up a point before the game today. If Seattle had a little more speed, and they have some of that with Kelly at first, they could really take advantage of this Baltimore staff.
Well, Jimmy Key has a very good move to first base. It was rated the third best move in the American League, but Chris Hoiles behind the plate has really had problems throwing out runners this year. But the Mariners just aren't built that way. They're not that kind of team by any stretch of the imagination. Cora can steal a base from time to time. Amaral maybe from time to time. Alex Rodriguez is their best threat down there in the middle of the order, but they're a power team. They're going to play for the long ball.
So here's Griffey, and he takes strike one. The last time Griffey faced Jimmy Key here at Camden Yards in the first inning, he hit a home run back on August the 15th in a Seattle 8-3 win. We'll see what he does in the first inning here today with Kelly at first and one out. A ball, a strike. Junior during the regular season, 56 home runs, 147 runs batted in, and by all accounts, he will be the American League's most valuable player.
Well, strange things happen when it comes to voting for postseason awards, but it would be some kind of a huge upset if he does not win the American League MVP.
Griffey lifts a fly ball down the left field line. A long run for Surhoff, and he makes a grab crossing into foul ground. So Griffey now 1 for 8 in the series.
Well, he had a great regular season, an awesome regular season. The kind of numbers that you don't see come along very often. The 56 home runs, 147 RBIs, scored 125 runs. Really just did it all. Played a great defensive center field, stole bases when it was important to his ball club, but has not been able to get on track here in the postseason.
2 down, Kelly at first in the opening inning, and now it's Edgar Martinez. Two-time American League batting champion watches his Key, sends Kelly back to the bag. Edgar a runner-up to Frank Thomas in the American League batting race this season, checking in at .330. 28 home runs, 108 batted in, but like Junior, 1 of 8 in the series.
Now, Jimmy Key's got a few different moves to first base. He'll really give you a lot of different looks over there, but the one move that he has that's been most effective is when he picks that right leg up in the air very slowly and then steps very quickly towards first base. He almost lulls the runner to sleep with the leg kick up and then fools him with the quick throw to first base.
Ball one high to Martinez. Is there a better hitter in all of baseball from the right side than Edgar Martinez? Some would say Frank Thomas is the best right-handed hitter in all of baseball. Others say it's that man.
Well, Frank Thomas certainly gives you a considerable amount of power, but day in, day out, consistently hitting tough pitches, hitting the pitches he's supposed to hit. It's hard to go wrong with Edgar Martinez. Dusty Baker, who was a great hitting instructor before he became the manager of the Giants, said this is his man as far as a right-handed hitter in baseball, and I'd have to agree with that.
Little low, 2 balls and no strikes. Edgar was telling us yesterday during Seattle's workout that his team needed to get deeper in the count against these Baltimore pitchers. They've been unable to do it against Mussina in the opener, and then Erickson in game 2. He looks at a strike.
Edgar Martinez is one guy that will normally work deep in the count. He very, very rarely swings at the first pitch. Likes to make that pitcher work out there, try to learn some kind of a pattern, try to pick up something on the pitcher, a way that he's trying to work him in and out, up and down, changing speeds. And Edgar is a very good student of hitting, and he will figure out a pattern.
Down low, 3 balls and a strike. Mussina, the opening game winner of this series, he outdueled Randy Johnson, did not walk a batter, and fanned 9. He would come back tomorrow if this game heads for a 4th game. And another throw sends Kelly back to the bag. And incidentally, if you didn't hear, Lou Piniella made the decision yesterday that if this game goes to game 4 tomorrow afternoon, Randy Johnson will come back on 3 days rest.
You know, which is why I think Lou had as much optimism as he did today, figuring Fassero could give him a good game and perhaps win tonight and come back with Randy Johnson tomorrow.
Lined into right, it'll fall in front of Hammonds. Making the turn and coming to third, Roberto Kelly. So a 2-out rally for Seattle. 2 hits in the inning against Jimmy Key. Rarely will the Mariners manufacture runs. They bank on the home run ball.
Now look at these numbers. This is scary. And if you're an opposing pitcher, you look up and down this lineup and try to figure out where you can take a breather. Where am I going to have an inning where I can just go out there and keep the fastball on the outside part of the plate and get through with an easy inning? There just isn't going to be an easy inning against the Mariners.
And you see they set a major league record, breaking Baltimore's mark set last year with 264 home runs this season. So now it's Rodriguez with runners on the corners and 2 out. And he looks at a strike. Jay Buhner would be next. But Seattle has failed and failed miserably with runners in scoring position in this series, just 1 of 11. The 1 pitch. Rodriguez takes high and away.
Now Martinez not really any threat whatsoever to attempt a stolen base over there at first, but because of Jimmy Key's effective move to first, he may be able to lull him to sleep over there and pick off a guy that's not even trying to steal.
Again, Key trying to work away from Alex Rodriguez, and it's 2 balls and a strike. Talked about in this series, Seattle 1 of 11 with runners in scoring position. Baltimore has gotten the job done. Runners on the corners, 2 down, and a 2-1 count to Rodriguez. Bounces up there, and a good pickup by Hoyles. 3-1.
If you didn't know better, you'd say Jimmy Key was pitching around Alex Rodriguez. He really hasn't come in there with anything that resembles a strike down the heart of the plate. He's been nibbling around, throwing off-speed pitches in the dirt and off the outside corner. But the specter of Jay Buhner looms in the on-deck circle, and that's no trip to the beach either. Although Buhner is more of a strikeout candidate than Alex Rodriguez.
3-1 pitch. And that one is fouled into the seats. Full count now on Rodriguez.
Jay Buhner, like a lot of the other Mariners hitters, has had good success against Jimmy Key throughout his career. And that's a sizable number of at-bats, 43 at-bats against Jimmy Key in his career. Normally when you see those gaudy numbers, it's based upon a relatively small sampling, but Jay Buhner is very familiar with Jimmy Key.
Kelly at third, Martinez at first, 2 down. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Rodriguez. Inning over. Seattle continues to fail when they have a chance to score. Orioles bat when we come back. They're hoping for a clean sweep from their hometown Orioles, trying to wrap up this American League Division Series against Seattle. And Davey Johnson's starting lineup reads as follows. Brady Anderson has jump-started this offense since the day he came to Baltimore, and no different in the first 2 games of this series. Followed by Alomar at second, Baroa the DH today. Palmeiro at first, Ripken at third, and B.J. Surhoff in left. Jeffrey Hammond's in right field. Hoyles will catch. And Mike Bordick is at shortstop. And they'll be facing one of the best, Jeff Fassero.
Fassero, a sinker, slider, split finger, changeup pitcher, usually throws ground balls. If he's on his game, you should see a lot of ground balls from the Oriole hitters. Needs to find that rhythm early. He will pitch inside, especially to right-handers, and he's got a great record on the road this year, 10-4, mostly because he's pitching on grass on the road, makes those ground balls just die out there. His defense can make the plays behind him.
Anderson, a home run, 4 batted in the series, and he takes down low for a ball. Anderson has led off 4 games this season with a home run, 27 in his career. A lot of thump right at the top.
I'll tell you, Brady Anderson has been the beneficiary of Mike Bordick's hitting streak here in the postseason. When Bordick gets on base, that forces the opposition to hold him on over there at first base, and Brady Anderson is a dead pull hitter, especially on the ground, opens up that big hole on the right side. So Brady Anderson is very happy Mike Bordick is hot right now.
Indeed he is. You see the number 24 many of the Orioles wear on their helmets in honor of Eric Davis. That's when he was diagnosed with a colon cancer and was away from the team for a couple of months. But Davis is wearing 24 again.
And I'm sure they'd rather have number 24 on the bench than just wear the number 24 on their helmets.
Anderson 18 home runs this season after belting 50 last year. And the 1-2 pitch. Popped up behind the plate, but that one will drift over the screen and into the seats.
You see the 16 wins on the season by Jeff Fassero. The bullpen also lost 6 games that he left with the lead, and when he was asked about that, he said, hey, I won 16 games. They saved a lot of those for me as well, so I'm not going to criticize my bullpen, but you know, you look at a guy like Jeff Fassero, could very easily be a 20-game winner this year with the way he pitched.
The 1-2 again to Anderson. Missed inside. Alomar will follow, and then Geronimo Berroa, the designated hitter. Fassero, the break-even pitch, and back up through the middle. Base hit, Brady Anderson. The defense behind Fassero in Game 3. Griffey and Buhner as sure-handed as any two in all of baseball. Kelly in left, Flowers and Rodriguez on the left side, Cora at second base. Hammerall just his 15th game this season playing first. And the battery of Fassero and Wilson.
That's not totally accurate with Griffey and Buhner. They initiated the plays that ended up in a guy getting caught at home plate. Some great relays, one to Alex Rodriguez, one to Joey Cora.
Brady Anderson already a stolen base in one attempt in this series. We'll keep an eye on him. Now it's Alomar, who due to a shoulder injury has to bat exclusively from the left side of the plate. Normally a switch hitter.
And it would seem to me that a guy that is used to being a switch hitter and is forced to hit from one side of the plate, you would go after him with more breaking balls. That seems to be the pitch that most guys have the most problem with. A left-hander hitting against a left-handed pitcher or vice versa. You see fastballs every day in batting practice. That's a pitch you can adjust to very easily. But the breaking ball should give Alomar the most problems.
Alomar, an 8-time All-Star, was a national villain this time a year ago after spitting in the face of umpire John Hirschbeck. He's been injured most of this season, but he's turned it on again late.
Now, Fassero does not have a great move to first base, but he is not afraid to throw over there. He probably won't pick anybody off in this ball game, but we may see a lot of throws to first just to keep runners close.
The Mariners left runners on the corners in the top of the first inning. Anderson has started the bottom of the inning with a base hit. Flowers in on the grass at third. And the 1-0 bunted beautifully. Fassero gets the out at first and give Alomar the sacrifice, advancing Brady Anderson to second.
You probably would not see Robbie Alomar do that if he was able to go to the plate and hit from the right side against the left-handed pitching Fassero, but because of the lefty-lefty matchup, he puts down a bunt. I'm not so sure if this was intended to be a sacrifice or a base hit. A perfect bunt. Very good look at it right there. A nice play by Jeff Fassero. Barehanding the ball, spinning all the way around, and throwing on to Rich Amaral at first.
So the Orioles now with the runner in scoring position, Brady Anderson at second base. And here's Geronimo Berroa. He is homered in the series and is batting .429. Breaking ball down and in. Berroa hit 26 home runs during the regular year. A big pickup for this Baltimore team after Eric Davis had to leave with a cancer. And Berroa brought thunder in that lineup coming over from the Athletics in late July. Foul ball.
Geronimo Berroa very much a free swinger up there at the plate, and especially with the base open at first. Jeff Fassero does not necessarily have to throw a strike to get this man out. He can work around the edges of the zone, change speeds. Doesn't have to throw him a fastball, doesn't have to throw him a strike, and Berroa will probably get himself out. But he is a very good bad ball hitter. So he may go out of the strike zone to pick a ball off the ground or hit one up around his neck. If it's airborne, it's in his hitting zone.
Yes, indeed.
Now this is where the split finger from Fassero would be a very effective pitch.
Wilson changing up the signs with Anderson at second in the 1-1 pitch. Fastball high and away.
Well, there's Baroa's hit zone. We mentioned, you know, every hitter in the world up and in, low and away, you can pitch him that way. But pretty much everything else is to his liking. I mean, there's rumors that you could throw the rosin bag up there and he'd swing at it.
2-1 on Baroa. And Fassero turns it loose and misses. 3 balls and a strike. Waits. 3-1 on Baroa. Anderson leads at second with 1 out. And it's ball 4. Well, we asked Dan Wilson what to look for early on out of Jeff Fassero.
Jeff has shown over the years that if he gets through first, second, third inning without any problems, he's probably going to be able to cruise a little bit. And he's the type of guy, like I said, with the fork ball, the slider gets a lot of ground balls, and so later on in the game, he gets comfortable, gets in a groove, and they start grounding a lot of balls out, and the game just kind of picks up and gets into his pace.
Well, that's what we mentioned on that scouting report. He needs to find that rhythm, find that fine line between throwing that split finger and change up too hard and throwing it just right, getting those batters to hit the ball but not hit it hard.
Here's a man who can hit it real hard, Rafael Palmeiro, and he looks at a strike. Palmeiro, as everyone knows by now, along with Surhoff and Alomar, did not face a left-hander Randy Johnson in the opening game, but all returned to face a left-hander Jamie Moyer in the second game.
Well, there's left-handers, and then there's Randy Johnson.
Don't tell Baltimore that. 2 on, 1 out in the 0-1. On the ground, could be 2. Cora. Rodriguez in a throw nearly pulled him off the bag, and he can't get the out at first. What a play to save at least 1 run by Alex Rodriguez.
Well, second baseman can always tell where that runner is going from first to second. Joey Cora made the decision that, yes, I have time to get Baroa at second. However, his throw was on the outfield side of second base. Rodriguez has to stretch out like a first baseman just to get the force on Baroa, and then goes ahead and tries to relay it to first base. You see Cora with the spin move. The throw tails out towards the outfield. Rodriguez, good reaction. That's a little neighborhood play out there at second base. He was close.
Well, it gives Baltimore an additional out. That should have been an inning-ending double play. Instead, runners on the corners for Cal Ripken Jr.
Now Rodriguez tried to get long feet right here. He reaches out, drags the foot across the bag. He did get it. First look there, I thought he might have missed the bag on the outfield side, but it looked like he planted his foot and then just drug his toe across the corner of the bag as he caught the throw from Joey Cora.
Ripken 5 of 9 in the series, including a pair of doubles. He's looking for his first RBI. And that's a foul ball.
Boy, Ripken, you can never tell from one day to the next what approach he's going to take at home plate. We've seen him go into somewhat of a crouch. We've seen him open his stance a little bit, carry his hands very low down around his belt buckle, hold his hands up very high. I think he waits until he leaves the on-deck circle to decide what's going to be the stance of the day. Certainly can't argue with the success he's had in the postseason, though.
That's a lot of stances in 2,478 consecutive games. Runners on the corners, 2 out. And the 1-1 misses in. 2 balls and a strike.
I tell you, when you're seeing the ball good at the plate, though, you can stand on your head and hit the ball. You know, and that's what it all comes down to: seeing the ball well, having yourself in a good position when that ball is released, and then just letting yourself react to the pitch.
Ripken 1 of 4 in his career against Fassero, who until this season was in the National League. And now 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ripken fouling that one off his front foot.
It's been a left side story throughout this series. Ripken 5 for 9 with a couple of doubles. Bordick 4 for 6. Scored 4, driven in 4.
It's amazing for Bordick. He went the first 75 at bats of the regular season without knocking in a run.
Well, and part of that was due to his ineffectiveness, and a lot of it was due to the fact that the middle of the Orioles lineup just wasn't leaving much out there on base for him.
Oh, you have a good point there. Lupinella pacing early and often in this series. 2-2 pitch on the ground, and again foul wide of third. Game 3 of the American League Division Series. Sold out crowd on a spectacular late Saturday afternoon in Baltimore. And along with Bob Brentley, I'm Tom Brenneman. Our entire Fox crew on hand as the Orioles are trying to advance onto the American League Championship Series. Seattle wants to advance to another game tomorrow. 2 on, 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. That just missed. Some of the fans still rolling in off of Utah Street. They better hurry up. They might miss something.
Well, those are the late arriving fans. I looked out my hotel window this morning about 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I saw the early birds waiting around outside the ballpark.
Big pitch early in the game here for Fassero. Three-two delivery, and they're loaded. Boy, Fassero, those last 2 pitches very close. Rick Reed, the home plate umpire, didn't give him either one.
Now the sweeping slider starts out over the plate, breaks inside. Where Dan Wilson catches this pitch, it's going to appear to be way inside. But you have to remember the movement on that ball is starting from the outside of the plate back towards the inside. Wilson tries to give the umpire Rick Reed a real good look at it, but doesn't get the call. And Jeff Fassero has always been very articulate with his body language. He will let you know how he feels out there by the way he carries himself, and at least after that call, he was not very happy.
Nardi Contreras, the Seattle pitching coach, out for a visit. Baltimore with the bases loaded and 2 out here in the bottom of the first inning. We remind you this copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. They're loaded for B.J. Surhoff.
Surhoff, a real good high fastball hitter. This first pitch is always dangerous to B.J. Surhoff.
And Surhoff, one of the best in all of baseball when the bases are loaded. Look at those numbers in his career. 4 grand slams. This year with the bases loaded, hit .588. Whew.
Now this is a situation that he's very familiar with, and he likes to hit with the bags drunk.
A ball, a strike. He hoping for an early lead. Vanilla hoping for anything that signifies help. One pitch. This is down and in. 2-1 now to Surhoff with 2 away, and Baltimore has the bases loaded here in the bottom of the first inning of a scoreless game.
Fassero trying to keep the ball down to B.J. Surhoff, an unusual high ball hitter from the left side of the plate, and as I mentioned earlier, a very good fastball hitter. Fassero's shown him a couple of fastballs and a slider for a strike.
2-1 delivery. Paints the outside corner, knee high, a called strike.
That's a tough pitch right there for anybody to handle. Right on the outside corner, right at the bottom of the knees. Fassero with 26 pitches already in the first inning of this ball game.
Bases loaded, 2 down. No score in the bottom of the first. And the crowd wanting to cheer a little louder. The 2-2 from Fassero. Inside, and now it's full. You tell me who's leading 2-0. Anderson, Palmeiro, Ripken. Third, second, and first. 2 out, and the 3-2 to Surhoff. Fouled away.
Well, we said it many times during the regular season, but with 2 outs, bases loaded, you definitely do not want to go to 3-2. Get a look at B.J. Surhoff. Has a pretty good rip at a low fastball, but you can see he just hits the top part of the ball, pulls it harmlessly foul. Once you get to 3-2 and those runners are moving, all kinds of bad things can happen.
They'll be running again on another 3-2 pitch with the bases loaded. Fassero, a big deep breath, the pause, and the 3-2 again. Rolled foul again down the first base line.
I think he might have swung a ball 4 right there, but he had a real good look at it as he started down that first base line. I bet he was coaching that ball as he was running out of that batter's box. Go foul, go foul, go foul. Tries to pull a fastball down and away from him. Hooks it down the line, and it just does go foul. Fassero headed over to first base to cover in the event that ball does stay fair.
Dan Wilson out for a short visit. Baltimore trying to do some damage early. Fassero has allowed a hit. He's walked 2. The Orioles have the bases juiced with 2 away. Again, the 3-2 pitch to B.J. Surhoff. On the ground, Fassero can't find it. Throws to first, and they got him at first. What a pickup there by Fassero. And maybe it picks up Seattle in this game and perhaps in this series. Baltimore leaves the bases loaded. And Fassero able to come up with the ball just in enough time to get Surhoff at first. No score at the end of 1.
Well, those players that sit on the bench and wait their turn to help their team win sometimes can help their team win. Watch these guys point to the ball. There it is, there it is. Well, they're sitting about 150, 175 feet away from the pitcher's mound, but they were trying to help Jeff Fassero by pointing out that the ball is right down. Fassero looked up in the air. He thought the ball had ricocheted and gone up in the air and was looking around the sky, couldn't find it. There it was, like laying an egg.
So here's Jay Buhner to begin the second inning. No score in Game 3 of this American League Division Series.
Well, hockey season has started, and if there's any NHL teams out there looking for a goalie, watch that kick save. Right off the instep. His glove traps the ball on the ground, but he's not sure where it is at that point. Kept his wits about himself, found the ball, and retired B.J. Surhoff at first base.
Seattle left 2 on in the top of the first inning. The Orioles leave them loaded in the bottom half. And we'll see here in the second. 1-1 to Buhner. And it's a called strike. Buhner became only the 10th player in Major League history this season. 3 consecutive years of hitting 40 or more home runs. But has struggled in the postseason. Stays alive, 1-2. Well, what a big play again this was by Fassero.
Well, the first thing that happens as a pitcher out there on the mound, you know that ball is somewhere close to you, but you don't know where. Watch him look up in the air. Where is it? Where is it? He's looking for help from his teammates. They were all pointing. It's right down there. It's right down there. He immediately looks down towards the dirt, sees the ball laying there, has plenty of time to get Surhoff at first. That's a scary feeling, though.
Kick, save, and a beauty. You're a big hockey fan, Mr. Brindley.
Yes, I am.
And, of course, the home of the NHL right here on Fox. That'll be coming up in the winter months. 2-2 pitch. Strike 3 called on Buhner.
We talked a lot about Jimmy Key's changeup and how that was going to be a key pitch for him. If he can spot that fastball as well as he did during that Jay Buhner at bat, that is going to be a good pitch for him as well. Look at that. That's an unhittable fastball. Outside corner, bottom of the kneecaps, in the strike zone. You can't hit it, but you can't take it.
Ray Miller, the Baltimore pitching coach, came back under Davey Johnson this season. And what a difference it's been for the Orioles and their pitching staff. They've been number 1 or 2 all year long in the American League. This one lifted into right center field off the bat of Blowers. Hammonds has it 2 away. See 2/3 of the big 3. Messina and Erickson already victorious in the first 2 games of this series. You know, Johnson, Moyer, and Fassero combined for 53 wins, second only to Atlanta's front 3 of 54. The Orioles trio of Key, Erickson, and Messina were third with 47 wins. But they really tailed off over the second half. The trio began the year at 28-4. But then 19-21 the rest of the way. Strike 1 to Dan Wilson.
Well, there's no doubt that the big 3 did not pitch as well down the stretch, but a lot of that had to do with the fact that Davey Johnson was resting some of his regulars. He was giving guys some time off. They had clinched. They knew they were going to the postseason. He had some guys that were dinged up a little. Gave him some time off, so he wasn't always running his best lineup out there behind those guys in the month of September. And once again, Jimmy Key spotting that fastball in absolutely a perfect location, this time to Dan Wilson.
Wilson 0 for 7 in the series, has struck out 5 times. And the 0-2 delivery just missed.
And Hoyles just tried to lead him a little further out that time, gave the target about another 4 to 6 inches off of that outside corner, and Jimmy Key hit the target.
1-2 to Wilson. And he strikes out for the 6th time in 8 at-bats during the series. A perfect second for Key. No score after an inning and a half in Baltimore. A fall Saturday in Baltimore. And yes, they start young here in Oriole country.
He got the hat on backwards, the ice cream going. He doesn't even know there's a ball game going on out there right now.
Having a big time. Latter third in the Baltimore batting order after leaving the bases loaded, ending the first against Fassero, and it's Jeffrey Hammonds who looks at a strike. Hammonds playing with a wounded Achilles. It's bothered him since about the middle of the season. But he's earned a great deal of respect from his teammates. They felt he couldn't play through pain the last couple of years. But he's managed to do it this season.
With the help of Davey Johnson, his manager.
And it's caught. Line drive at Amaral over at first. 1 away to open the second.
You know, the reason I mentioned that Davey Johnson, he really knows how to push the right buttons. Hammonds had a reputation of a guy who would not play hurt, so when he was dinged up a little bit, appeared to come out of the lineup. As you see Amaral scoop that ball just above the turf. Davey Johnson made Hammonds go out and play outfield anyway. Boy, tough to see from that angle. Tough to see for Rich Amaral as well. But getting back to my point, Jeffrey Hammonds had a reputation of being a guy that couldn't play through an injury. Davey Johnson forced him to go out there and play, not taking a chance on injuring him permanently, but making him play with the little injuries.
Chris Hoyles, first pitch swinging, pops it up, foul ground. And coming back into fair territory is Amaral and makes the play.
Of course, the other side of that coin is a guy like Chris Hoyles, who wanted to come back quickly from a knee injury, was begging to get back in the lineup as a DH. Well, he didn't have to prove to anybody that he was a tough guy and that he could play hurt, and Davey would not allow him to play until he proved he could go behind the plate and catch. He didn't insert him in the lineup just to DH. He said, when you can catch, you can play. Different way of handling 2 different players.
2 down, and now it's Bordick, who has knocked in 4 of Baltimore's 18 runs in the series. We brought up earlier and made the notation that Bordick, in this his first season with the Orioles, taking over, of course, at short for Cal Ripken Jr., went 75 at bats to begin the season without a run batted in. And he has 4 in the first 6 at bats here in the postseason.
But you can rest assured during the course of those 75 at bats that he went without an RBI, that he saved a lot of runs with his glove out there at shortstop. Covers a lot of ground. You know, few people are willing to say it, but Cal Ripken had indeed lost a lot of range at shortstop. And that move, sending Cal to third, inserting Bordick at shortstop, really made him a much better defensive infield.
Of course, they tried that briefly last year with Manny Alexander, now a Chicago Cub. Ripken didn't mind so much moving over to third base, but if he was going to give up the job, it was going to give it up to somebody who was ready to play the position and get the job done.
Yeah, Manny was still learning to play shortstop, so to speak, at the big league level. Mike Bordick is an established major league shortstop.
1-2 pitch. Fastball missed. 2-2.
Hey, you don't mind it if your understudy has done some things in their career, but you don't want to give it up to somebody who's unproven, untested, especially if you still feel you can go out and do the job as well.
And again, fouled out of play. Bordick stays alive at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Cal Ripken Jr., 37 years old. Came up originally at third base. Earl Weaver moved him over to shortstop. And now back at third on a full-time basis in 97. And has gotten better and better as the season's gone on.
Yeah, we said earlier in the season he was struggling a little bit down there. He called his father and said, how long is it going to take me to get used to playing third base? And his father, of course, was a great infield instructor during his days as a coach with the Orioles. And he said it'll take you probably, 100 games or so until you really feel like that's your natural position.
See what Ripken has done offensively this season. A terrible September. Been bothered by a very bad back. And many locally were saying that he should end the consecutive games played streak to get ready for the postseason. Again, fouled away by Burdick. 2-2.
Yeah, it's really a two-edged sword, though. You see what Cal has done throughout his career. You take Cal out of that streak and suddenly that becomes a story. And the story should have been the Baltimore Orioles in their pursuit of a pennant. Then they're advancing into the postseason, and I don't think anybody involved with the organization. Of course, Cal didn't want the streak to end, but nobody wanted to have that kind of media circus surrounding what should have been a celebration of the postseason.
Hit down into the right field corner, and that is a foul ball. Well, we had a chance to ask Mike Bordick. He'll forever be remembered as the man who took over for Ripken, and how has Cal helped him?
Yeah, right out of the chute, he came over and he helped me with learning our pitchers, talked about positioning, and he's done that all year. Cal is a great communicator, and he's obviously one of the most knowledgeable players in the game. And he's been really open, and it just got better and better, I think, as each day went by throughout the year, and it's still getting better of communication, and Robbie's a great communicator as well, so it's helped out.
Been a very easy fit, thanks to Cal Ripken Jr. 2-2 again to Bordick. And he's worked the count full, 1 at bat. Here for Mike Bordick, trying to keep it alive for Brady Anderson.
And once again, Jeff Fassero with the body language. You could tell he wanted that pitch as well. Tried to go around the back door with that slider. Started off the outside part of the plate and nipped the outside corner. He thought he had it.
Three-two pitch. And again, he dumps it out of play. It's been a 10-pitch at-bat for Mike Bordick. Three-two again. And it's ball 4. He draws the walk. Well, Mike Bordick had a terrible offensive year, but he's gotten it done in the playoffs. Why?
I don't think there's anything you can put your finger on. Feel good at the plate right now. I think I'm getting good pitches to hit because obviously Brady Anderson's sitting behind me. And I've come up in situations where they don't want to get to Brady, so they have to pitch to me. And fortunately, been able to get the good part of the bat on the ball, and they've been able to find some holes.
I think that last point was the most important one for Mike Bordick. He's been able to find some holes. We mentioned that the Orioles staff said that he'd been hitting the ball well the entire month of September. He just didn't have a lot to show for it, and now those balls he's hitting hard seem to be finding holes.
Inning continues for Brady Anderson, who singled an inning ago to center field. And he looks at a strike.
This was a situation we talked about earlier. Even though Bordick reached by walk this time, huge hole on the right side of the infield for Brady Anderson. Brady Anderson very much a pull hitter, not quite as much against a left-handed pitcher as he would be against a right-hander, but he still pulls the ball on the ground the majority of the time.
0-1 to Anderson. And a fastball in the inside corner, strike 2 called. Alomar would be next. Bordick drew a 2-out walk. He's at first. The third walk issued by Fassero in the game thus far. And it's 0-2 to Brady Anderson. Came inside but missed.
Came inside probably to set up the next pitch. Normally the way to go after Brady Anderson after you get ahead of him is to throw him breaking balls out of the strike zone. Has a tendency to roll over that breaking ball. That's when he hits those easy ground balls to the right side.
Two down. Bordick a short lead at first. And they have the runner caught. Throwing down to second, and no problems this time as Amaral steps away from the runner, fires to Rodriguez to end the inning. No score in the 2. Back after these messages from your local station.
Now, we mentioned Jeff Fassero does not have a great pickoff move to first, but he gets Mike Bordick because Bordick is breaking on first move. As soon as Fassero made a movement on the mound, Bordick broke for second base and hung out to dry at second. He was just trying to guess along with Jeff Fassero right there. He was fully anticipating that the pitch was going to be delivered to home plate, made up his mind he was going to go on the first movement, and Fassero crossed him up.
Of course, one of the biggest plays of this series came on a botched pickoff play where they had Jeffrey Hammonds caught in between first and second, but Paul Sereno's throw hit him in the foot, and it set up a big inning for Baltimore.
Well, we talked that Jimmy Key has a very good move. I mentioned rated third best in the American League behind Andy Pettitte, and I'm not quite sure who the number 2 move would be, but I'm sure that Andy Pettitte is number 1. Jimmy Key with a very good move to first. Jeff Fassero not as good, but when you take gambles on the bases and try to guess with him, he can pick guys off from time to time.
Cora batting in the number 9 spot and chops it on the ground at Bordick, or at Alomar, 1 away.
We'll get a look at Jimmy Key's move to first base. On the left, there'll be a delivery to home plate. You see the leg kick, the knee comes back, and he delivers the ball to home plate. On the second frame on the right there, everything looks pretty much the same if you're the base runner at first. From our angle that we have right there, you could see a slight difference in his body, the way his weight shifted. You can see it from home plate. You can see it from the dugout bench. Very tough to see from first base.
And the 7 pickoffs this season for Jimmy Key. Again, Andy Pettitte led the league. Amaral looks at a strike. He lined to Hammonds in right field, beginning the ball game.
And of course, it doesn't really matter if the batter picks it up because you're not trying to pick him off. If you can fool that base runner, that's all that matters.
That one almost hit Amaral. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pitching coach Ray Miller keeping an eye on Jimmy Key, who really struggled down the stretch. 5-9 with an ERA over 4 his last 20 starts. You may remember Key began the year 8-0, and after 14 starts he was 11-1. And magnified even more so by the fact that he was 1-8 in his final 11 starts at Camden Yards. 2-2 to Amaral. But Bobby, you brought it up. If there is truly a big game pitcher on this Baltimore staff, Jimmy Key overwhelmingly is that guy.
Well, he's had the experience. He's pitched for the Toronto Blue Jays in the postseason. Of course, last year with the Yankees in their incredible World Series victory. He understands pressure. He understands big games. He understands what it does to the opposition and how to take advantage of that.
Hit hard down the left field line, and that ball is bending foul. Jimmy Key trying to pinch a series clinching win here today. You see that Key 1 of 5 to deliver series clinchers for different teams. This would be the 3rd team he's accomplished it for, and he would be the only man in that category. 92 with the Jays, last season with the Yankees. Up through the middle. Alomar gets there, and he's not going to throw in time to get Amaral. That's an infield hit. 3rd hit of the game for Seattle.
Well, another fine play up the middle by Robbie Alomar, ranging far to his right. We've seen him backhand flip this ball to Cal Ripken, or rather to Mike Bordick, and allow him to complete the throw to first, but Bordick was not really in a good position to field any kind of a flip, so Alomar tries to do the best he can to get something on the throw to first. Alomar runs pretty well, or rather Amaral runs pretty well down the first base line and beat the one-hop throw. They don't give you those gold gloves for nothing.
No, they don't. He probably still thinks about flipping it to Ripken. Maybe he hasn't gotten used to it quite yet, the fact that Bordick is the everyday shortstop. Amaral can run. 12 stolen bases during the regular season, was thrown out 8 times. But generally a very good percentage base stealer. Until this year, one of the best, in fact, in all of baseball. Strike 1 to Roberto Kelly.
And Junior waiting in the on-deck circle, hoping to snap out of this postseason funk that he's been in. He's done very well against Jimmy Key in his career. 50 at-bats, 16 base hits, and 4 home runs, but couldn't solve him his first at-bat in this ball game.
Kelly an infield single back in the 1st inning. Amaral leads at first, and it's fouled back quickly. 0-2 on Kelly. Well, Seattle has feasted off Jimmy Key. You see the numbers.
Boy, the middle of that Seattle Mariners lineup has really found this left-hander to their liking. But Jimmy Key is a smart pitcher. He knows that these guys have banged him around pretty good. He's perfectly capable of going to plan B or plan C. You really have to start worrying, though, if you go to plan B and plan C and they still hit you.
1-2 to Kelly.
Rafael Palmeiro at first base with a very unusual style of holding Rich Amaral on the bag. Normally a first baseman will plant his right foot right on the bag, give that pitcher a good target over there in the event of a pickoff. Rafael Palmeiro just kind of wanders around in front of the base runner. Sometimes he'll retreat a couple steps to the bag. Look where he's fielding right there. This time he goes back. Key comes over to first base. If you're going to play that kind of position, one of 2 things has to happen. You either have to have a real good read on your own pitcher's move, or you have to have a pre-designated signal when that pitcher is going to throw to first base, so you know to go back to the bag.
1-2 on Kelly. And again, the throw over to first base, sending Amaral back to the bag. No score, top of the 3rd inning. Amaral, a 1-out infield single. We talked about 12 stolen bases for Amaral during the regular year, had 25 last season. Hammered down the left field line, and this ball will roll all the way to the wall. Amaral on his way to 3rd. They're going to wave him around. Here comes the throw from Bordick. Nope, he'll eat it. And Seattle has taken a 1-0 lead here in the 3rd on a double by Roberto Kelly. His 3rd double of the series.
Boy, Kelly really hammered that ball down into the corner. It looked like B.J. Surhoff had an angle on the ball and was going to be able to cut it off initially. But the ball is hit so hard it just skips off that outfield grass, goes all the way to the fence. Watch how quickly Surhoff gets rid of this ball back into the infield. Barehanded pickup. Good strong throw to Bordick. Bordick decides there's no play at the plate, so he doesn't try to cut down the runner. And the Mariners break through. Amaral sees right away that ball is going all the way to the wall. He knows he's got a chance to score. Comes all the way around from first base. And Lou Pinella's got to like that.
Kelly in scoring position for Ken Griffey Jr., who flied to left field his first time up. And he swings at the first pitch and fouls it back out of play. Jr. 1 of 8 in the series without a home run, and has 1 run batted in on a ground out to first base. And you see the numbers for Jr. against Jimmy Key. Griffey spectacular in the postseason back in 1995. And if the Mariners have any chance in this series and then beyond, he has to find the magic again. That one hit foul. 0-2.
Well, in 1995, in 11 games, he was able to hammer out 16 base hits, 6 home runs. All seemed to come so easy back then, but the longer you play in this game, the more your weaknesses are discovered and exploited, and it's up to you to make an adjustment. Junior's been very good throughout his career making adjustments in the regular season. Hasn't been able to do it yet this postseason.
Breaking ball sweeps away. 1-2 now to Griffey. Great deal of attention surrounded Griffey along with Mark McGwire in the chase for Roger Maris's home run record of 61. Griffey said, "I'm not interested in that record. I'm worried about getting a ring." And he's out of there on strikes. Junior now 1 of 9 in the series. 2 away.
That's what a veteran pitcher like Jimmy Key can do to you. He changes speeds on this breaking ball, takes a lot off of this curveball, makes it bigger and rounder, a lot more break on it, ends up in the dirt outside, and Junior takes a very defensive, half-hearted swing at it. Boy, more than any other attribute, if a pitcher can change speeds on his pitches out there on the mound, it makes you so much more effective. I know that's one of Ray Miller's credos: work fast, throw strikes, change speeds.
Edgar Martinez with Kelly at second looks at ball 1. Martinez singled into right field in the first inning, but he was stranded there along with Kelly at third when Alex Rodriguez struck out on a 3-2 pitch. Fastball strike. Mariners trailing 2-0 in this best-of-5 divisional series. Lead here in the third inning on a Roberto Kelly double, 1-0. And now 2-1 on Edgar Martinez.
Jimmy Key working the outside part of the plate on Edgar Martinez. I talk about a veteran pitcher, how they can learn your weaknesses and exploit them. Well, Edgar Martinez is a veteran hitter. And if you try to work him exclusively away, he may take a shot at that scoreboard in right field.
Saw what he's done this season with runners in scoring position. He has Kelly at second with 2 out. And a pickoff attempt at second base, and Kelly read it all the way.
Yeah, that was a timed pickoff play where the pitcher actually never looks at second base. Chris Hoyles, the catcher, had given the signal to the middle infielders, raised his glove up, and when he sees the second baseman break, he drops his glove. Jimmy Key spins around and attempts the pickoff of Kelly at second base.
Good hitters count for Edgar Martinez. 2-1 pitch. And a roller up the middle. Bordick gets there to his feet. Rolls and got it. Wasn't hit hard, but Bordick makes the play to take away a would-be run. But Seattle breaks through on a double by Kelly. And they lead 1-0 after 2.5. Mike Bordick flashing the leather all season long, taking over for Cal Ripken Jr. as the Orioles' everyday shortstop. Takes away a hit and a run batted in for Edgar Martinez. 1-0 Orioles bat in the third. It's ball 1 to Brady Anderson.
That's exactly what we were talking about earlier, Tommy, that even though he didn't drive in a run in his first 75 at bats, he's able to save runs that the other team would have scored. That's the same thing as driving one in for your own team.
Fastball in there, strike, 1-1. Flowers a step on the grass in at third base in the 1-1 to Anderson. He thought about it and it missed.
There's a look at that play by Mike Bordick. One of the dangers, watch his right hand. When that throwing hand goes down to the ground and you come up and go to get a grip on the ball, many times there's so much dirt and sand and turf from that infield on your hand, you don't get a good grip on the ball. But Bordick with a bullet across the infield to get the slow running Edgar Martinez.
I was going to say, you've been out of the game for a few years now. You might be able to get up the line a little better than Edgar.
Edgar runs like he's mad at the ground.
Yes. 2-2 the count on Brady Anderson. He singled to center field in the first inning. Jam with that pitch.
Boy, defense wins so many ball games for you. That's always been an Oriole trademark throughout their history. When they've had successful teams, they've had great infield defense. And Mike Bordick certainly continues that tradition.
Fassero has walked 3. He's allowed only 1 hit. That was a leadoff single to Anderson. And it's chopped foul wide of first. Here in Baltimore, we send a warm welcome to the Blockbuster Blimp and its crew on today's event. Piloting the Blockbuster Blimp is Captain Paul Adams, bringing you all these glorious shots of downtown Baltimore and Camden Yards.
Well, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I figure I'm a part owner of that blimp with all the late fees I've paid over the years.
I've had to buy the entire movie. 2-2 on Anderson. Slapped through the hole, base hit left field. Anderson's second of the ball game.
Brady Anderson doesn't really bail against the left-hander, but he gives a little bit, and that pitch was kind of thrown into his bail there, a ball that he could reach. You see Wilson sitting on the outside corner. The pitch is out there. He just stays with it, slaps it through that hole in the left side. With 2 strikes, Brady a little bit more of a defensive hitter. Early in the count, he pulls the ball a lot more.
Anderson 1 steal here in the divisional series, and Roberto Alomar looks at a breaking ball in there, a strike.
And we saw Alomar put down a sacrifice bunt in the first inning when Brady Anderson reached on a base hit. Now trailing by a run. We'll see how Davey Johnson chooses to play it.
Flowers guarding against the bunt. 2 steps in on the grass at third, and the throw over to first.
Anderson did steal 18 bags this year. He was caught 12 times. The rib injuries really took away from his ability to run the bases with the same kind of aggressiveness that he has in past seasons.
Anderson has stolen 226 bases in his career. So a big threat for a team that attempted the fewest base stealing tries in the American League. And the 0-1. Hit down the left field line, away from Kelly, fair ball. Anderson on his way to third. And they're going to hold him there into second with a stand-up double. Alomar. Two left-handed hitters here in the inning, Bobby, going with the other way.
Well, and if you're Jeff Fassero and Dan Wilson, that would tell you that you need to work inside a little bit more, keep these hitters honest. They're reaching out there across the plate, hitting pitches outside to the opposite field with authority. Maybe time to move them off that plate a little bit, make them respect that fastball inside a little bit more. Roberto Kelly chasing this double down into the corner, much like B.J. Surhoff last inning, gets rid of it quickly, gets it back into the cutoff man, and with nobody out, Sammy Perlaza, the third base coach, not taking any chances. A 3-4-5 hitter coming to the plate.
Anderson at third, Alomar at second for Baroa, and he takes a strike. Baroa walked in the first inning.
Surprising walk. Although he drew 76 during the course of the regular season, this is a tough man to walk, especially with runners in scoring position.
And Baroa feasts on left-handed pitching. Hit better than 350 against southpaws during the regular year. But he's quickly behind at 0-2.
And you watch Baroa with that approach up there at the plate. When I used to catch and a batter came to the plate like Geronimo Baroa that seems, it's like winding a watch almost. He gets tighter and tighter and tighter the longer he stands in that batter's box. Try to make him wait as long as you can before you deliver the pitch. Those forearm muscles get tighter and tighter. Those wrists tighten up a little bit more.
Seattle leading 1-0. Runners at second and third in the Baltimore third. 0-2 on Baroa. Fastball missed high and away.
And normally Fassero is a pitcher that likes to work very quickly. He likes to get the ball back, get on the mound, get the sign, deliver the ball, work quickly, keep his defense on his toes. But the Oriole hitters have always been a very deliberate offensive ball club. They take their time between pitches. They like to take their time with their practice swings. And at times it seems Fassero's getting a little frustrated having to wait on the Orioles hitters.
Good save by Dan Wilson. And Baroa wants Rick Reed to look at the ball.
Yeah, real good block this time by Dan Wilson. He catches it in the glove, but he wasn't intending to. You can see the glove goes down to protect the hole between the legs. He's just trying to keep this ball in front. You know, much was made of Charles Johnson and the great year he had for the Florida Marlins this year. Only one pass ball in the season. Dan Wilson had one pass ball this season.
Anderson at third, Alomar at second, 2-2 to Baroa, and he struck him out swinging. What a time for Fassero to pick up his first strikeout of the game.
Judging from Baroa's swing, it looked like a changeup down low. Baroa, a very aggressive hitter. We've mentioned it before. Very good fastball hitter. Even with 2 strikes, he's going to be aggressive up there at the plate, and you can see the bottom drop out of that pitch. I don't speak Spanish, but I don't think that was, boy, that was a good swing.
Geronimo saying Geronimo. Heads back to the dugout, and now it's Rafael Palmeiro. He bounced into a fielder's choice back in the first inning. Swing and a miss. Slider down and away from Palmeiro, and that's a big pitch for Fassero in his arsenal, that slider.
Anderson and Alomar both went opposite field. Left-handed hitters against Jeff Fassero. See if Palmeiro has the same thing in mind.
Seattle conceding the run defensively. And a roller. Fassero now has a runner caught between third and home. He'll run Anderson back. Flowers heads in towards the plate. And he bangs into the catcher Wilson, who hangs on for the second out of the inning. So a fielder's choice scored 1-5-2, cutting down Anderson. Advancing on to third, Alomar to second, Palmeiro.
Brady Anderson starts down the line. At that point, he just gave up. It appeared to me that if he would have slammed on the brakes and gone back to third hard, Fassero would have been content to take the out at first base. You see, Fassero does what you're supposed to do. Run the man back to the bag he came from. He may have delivered the ball a little too quickly at that point, but Flowers gets it to Wilson, who's able to hang on the crash play at home plate. Heads up coming into your living room. Brady Anderson drops the shoulder, tries to jar the ball loose. Wilson's able to hang on. You see Alomar sliding into third. Both runners advance into scoring position during the course of the rundown.
But Fassero now an out away from getting out of runners at second and third with nobody out to begin this Baltimore third inning. Baroa went down on strikes. Anderson cut down on the fielder's choice ground ball off the bat of Palmeiro, and now it's up to Ripken if the Orioles are to score. Strike one. Ripken walked in the first inning. And you see his numbers in the postseason. He has not knocked in a run during the first 2 games of this series. And Fassero in front, 0-2.
Cal Ripken, a very dangerous hitter when you work him down low and inside. Like a lot of left-handed hitters, he really drops the head of the bat down very well on low inside fastballs. Usually the book on Cal is to go up the ladder inside. Once you get ahead, throw that fastball belt high inside, then letter high inside, hopefully get him to chase. Otherwise, you just try to stay down and away from him. You can see from this hot zone, And this box down here low and in. Now, he hits for a lot of power on that pitch down and in. But he likes the ball around the heart of the plate, up and out over the plate. But you can go up the ladder inside.
See where Wilson sets up on this 0-2 pitch. Runners at second and third with 2 away. And Fassero lets it fly. And it's fouled back out of play.
Fassero trying to go back door with what appeared to be a slider. Started off the corner, nipped that outside corner. Cal was able to fight it off. That seems that's what the good hitters are always able to do. They get to 2 strikes and the pitcher makes a tough pitch on them, and they're able just to get enough of it to foul it off. Force that pitcher to go back into his delivery, throw another pitch to home plate, and if a mistake is made, they're ready for it.
Alomar at third, Palmeiro at second, and the 0-2 way inside. A ball, 2 strikes on Ripken.
And with that tender back that Cal has had throughout the latter part of the season, you always have to be concerned anytime he makes an exaggerated move as he just did. Diving for ground balls at third base. Makes Davey Johnson catch his breath. Makes Cal catch his breath too. But jumping out of the way of that inside fastball, you have to be a little bit concerned.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Ripken. A base hit gives Baltimore the lead, and a fastball missed off the inside edge. Count even now 2-2. Lupinella barking at home plate umpire Rick Reed. Some questionable calls in Ripken's prior at bat that Fassero did not get. Turned out to be a walk when the Orioles left the bases loaded in the first inning. 2-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Fassero, after allowing a single to Anderson, a double to Alomar to begin the inning, comes away unscathed. And Seattle holds on to a 1-0 lead. Story of 2 juniors, their respective teams. Here in Game 3 of the American League Division Series, Griffey Jr. is flied to left and struck out. Cal Ripken Jr. walked in the first inning, left 2 on in the third, fanning against Fassero. So here we go in the fourth. Seattle leading 1-0, and Rodriguez to lead it off. First pitch swinging, drills it into right, and that's headed for the wall. Rodriguez on his way to second base. The throw from Hammonds. What a throw by Hammonds in right field. And it appeared from up here he played it perfectly off the wall.
Well, he really did. He fields this ball on a couple hops, comes up, immediately throws to second base. Alex Rodriguez is looking right at the play. He makes the judgment that he can beat that throw. And you can see by the length of a finger, Mike Bordick gets that tag down. Good job by Bordick of decoying. He was just standing straight up and down at second base, trying to give A-Rod the impression that there was not going to be a play. I'll tell you, it's tough to fool another middle infielder. Alex Rodriguez knew there was going to be a play, and yes, sir, you're my favorite right fielder.
Jeffrey Hammonds playing in place of Eric Davis today. Davis underwent another round of chemotherapy treatment yesterday and week today, so he's not starting. Hammonds is. And 2 on Jay Buhner.
Well, on this play, there's really no reason to hit a cutoff man. There's no other base runners advancing. You come up with the ball, throw it right to the bag. Oh, man, Bordick even stepped up a step with his right foot to make sure and get that tag down in front of the base, just ahead of the sliding Alex Rodriguez.
2-2 now to Buhner, who went down on strikes looking in the second inning.
You know what kind of gets lost in the shuffle is the fact that Alex Rodriguez a very good approach that time. Jimmy Key's been painting that outside corner with the fastball. Alex Rodriguez went out there and shot it to the opposite field.
Breaking ball bounces up there to Buhner, so after falling behind 0-2, Key has gone full. Flowers waits on deck, and the 3-2 pitch. On the ground, Bordick diving play. Will he get him at first? Yes! How about the Baltimore defense here in the fourth? They've taken away 2 hits.
I'm looking forward to the third out of this inning. What a great play again by Mike Bordick. Fully sprawled out on his stomach. Up the middle, full extension. That's a ball as a shortstop. You just hope you can get your glove out there far enough. You don't realistically have a chance to field it. You throw the glove out there and hope you get the ball. And then he comes to his feet quickly with another strong throw.
No one will catch that one. Flowers rips one into left field, a hit. And he's going to round first and then go back there. Boy, if Rodriguez doesn't get thrown out at second base, Seattle's tacking on more runs.
Well, another look. You can just see he was losing his footing there at the end of that play. Just stuck the glove out there, found the ball. Good strong throw to get Buhner at first.
Buhner robbed of a hit by Bordick. Rodriguez did drill one into right field for a single, was thrown out trying to go to second. And Flowers, a clean single, no damage done, is at first. And fouling off the first pitch is Dan Wilson, still in search of his first hit of this divisional series.
You know, Tommy, we were talking after Dan Wilson's last at bat. He doesn't even look like the same hitter as he was during the regular season. During the regular season, Dan Wilson was a very patient hitter that let the ball get way in on him, get way in close to home plate. Good opposite field hitter. Very rarely got fooled by breaking balls. He seems to really be jumping at the ball. This was Dan Wilson's hot zone during the regular season. A middle-in fastball hitter most of the time. But as I mentioned, with a good stroke to the opposite field, he seems to be jumping out at the ball, trying to go out and hit the ball in front of home plate, which is not his game offensively.
0-1 pitch. Right back to Key. And the inning is over. Absolutely sensational defense in the top of the fourth. Hammonds gunning down Rodriguez. Bordick, a great play to throw out Buhner at first. 1-0 Seattle after 3.5. Back at sold out Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Seattle a 1-0 lead behind Jeff Fassero after 3.5. And B.J. Surhoff to lead things off takes ball 1. We saw Jeffrey Hammonds make that terrific throw to cut down Rodriguez on a would-be double at second. One of the really big plays in this series defensively turned in by the batter at the plate right now, B.J. Surhoff. 5-2 ball game in game 2. Rob Ducey stroked one down the left field line and knock in a run. But Ducey didn't stop at first. He took off for second, and Surhoff threw him out. Lines this one into center field. And Griffey is there, one away. Well, B.J. Surhoff, a former catcher, we asked him how that has helped him throwing in the outfield.
Well, the transitioning glove to ball is a little bit easier, I think, for me having caught because I'm so used to doing it. And knowing, and accuracy, it's another thing that is so important when you're behind the plate in the infield, too. So I definitely think it's helped me in throwing 2 bases and being more accurate.
Quick release, straight over the top delivery, much like he did in his days as a catcher. And the accuracy, always so very important for an outfielder. You can have the strongest arm in the world, but if you don't get that ball in there in a position for the infielder to handle it and make a tag, it doesn't make any difference.
Jeffrey Hammonds lined to the first baseman Amaral, his only trip leading off the second. Inside, 1-1. The big unit, Randy Johnson, charting the pitches here in game 3. You see his line in game 1. He has lost 3 times to the Orioles this season through 100 pitches in 5 innings. And was outdueled by Mike Mussina. But he's hoping to get another shot at Baltimore in game 4 tomorrow.
And Fassero's pitch count is getting up there. If my count is correct, he's around 76 or 77 pitches through the first 3 1/3 innings of this ball game. But you got to believe with the state of the Seattle bullpen, Lou Piniella's going to leave him out there till his arm falls off, as long as he's getting people out. You know, if the Mariners should happen to bounce back in this series, win this ball game, have a big one from the big unit tomorrow, and get back in it, Ken Cloud has already been named as the Game 5 starter. Fassero would have a lot of time to rest before the beginning of the next series, should it go that far. So I think we're going to see Fassero out there for quite some time today, as long as he's effective.
Well, there is no denying that the Seattle bullpen has been a disaster. Lou Piniella finally blew his lid in the month of July after watching another blown save. They traded away a highly controversial trade, Jose Cruz Jr. to Toronto for Mike Timlin and Paul Spoljaric. And the bullpen really not a lot better right now. On the ground to Rodriguez, and Hammond's thrown out. 2 away.
In the third inning, we'll get a look at Jeff Fassero's out pitches. A changeup to Geronimo Baroa, got him to chase. Sweeping slider to Rafael Palmeiro. The rundown ensued, and then a changeup low and away again to Cal Ripken Jr. Going to the off-speed pitch that inning. Fassero has the ability, much like Jimmy Key, to mix it up depending on what's working on a given day. And if he's got all of his pitches working well, he can be very tough.
79 now the pitch count for Jeff Fassero. Just 9 to get the first 2 batters here in the 4th. He needs an easy inning. Hoyles popped up to the first baseman Amaral back in the second. 1 run, 6 hits for the Mariners. No runs, 3 hits for Baltimore. Two and 0. Hoyles had to leave game 1. They remember Joey Cora on a follow through. His back came down and plunked Hoyles on top of the head, causing a cut. Didn't require any stitches, and he's back in there today. 2 and 1.
You're seeing a lot more and more of that in today's game, with a lot of guys using a kind of a modified Charlie Lau approach at the plate, where they take the top hand off the bat right after contact and finish with the big long arcing backswing. And Chris Hoyles can tell you all about that.
3 and 1.
Yeah, watch Joey Cora as the top hand comes off the bat, the big backswing, whack. Catches Hoyles right in the side of the head, fortunately wearing the helmet. And I think actually he was starting to move his head when he got struck, which may have made it even a little worse than it had to be.
Obviously that happened to you on numerous occasions. The downside is back then they had never invented the catcher's mask, or as we know it now, the helmet.
Well, we didn't have plastic back then, you know.
Right.
Well, thanks, partner.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it.
I'm behind you all the way. Winter time.
Winter time.
Right. 3 and 2 now on Hoyles. Base is empty. 2 down here in the 4th. Straight away center field. Good as gold out there with Griffey Jr. And a perfect inning for Fassero. His first of the game. We're in Baltimore. Game 3. 1-0 Seattle. 1-0 Seattle, trying to stave off elimination here today in front of the Orioles. Game 3. And you know, Bobby, Lou Piniella very convincing. He believes sincerely that his team can still come back and win this series.
Well, he really thought that Jeff Fassero today, pitching on the grass here at Camden Yards, the ground ball pitcher that he is, would give his team a real good chance to get back into this series. And then with Randy Johnson going tomorrow, very uncharacteristic in game 1. You got to believe they're going to get a better game out of Randy Johnson. So, you know, Lou's confidence may not be far off the mark.
Well, they did it in '95 in the divisional series. Cora, a sharp one-hopper right at Ripken, and the beat goes on for the Orioles defensively.
Well, the Mariners are going to have to try to hit the ball over the Orioles defense, because they're not having a lot of luck trying to hit it through them. Cal Ripken playing very shallow at third base, protecting against a bunt. Drops down to a knee to make sure he stays in front of the ball, and the good strong throw across the infield gets Cora by a large margin. That's just a self-defense play at third base. You try to get your body into a position where you know you can knock that ball down. It's hit so hard, you're playing so shallow, you know you have time to make the out at first base.
4-0 for 2, and now it'll be Rich Amaral. He is lined to right and an infield single back up through the middle in the third inning and scored the only run of the game on a double by Roberto Kelly. Amaral getting his first start of the series. They had gone with Paul Sorrento at first base. Lou Piniella promised changes in the lineup yesterday and makes them today and says there are more in store for tomorrow should Seattle get that far.
I wonder what he meant by that.
He likes to leave them guessing every now and then.
Well, Amaral has been a very valuable member of this Mariners ball club this year, able to play all around the field, outfield, infield. You just put him out there anywhere. Very valuable utility guy to have, and great numbers against Jimmy Key in his career, which would certainly warrant his starting the ball game tonight.
Lou Piniella, like Davey Johnson, looking for his second World Series championship. Won it with the Reds in 1990. And Amaral has his second hit of the game. Well, while we have a moment, let's go to Chip Carey in our Fox Television Center in Hollywood for a Miller Lite game break.
All right, Tommy and Bob, many memories taking place at Camden Yards, and 42 years ago today. How about the memories for the fans in Brooklyn? The 1955 World Series concludes with the Brooklyn Dodgers beating the Yankees in a 7-game series. Next year finally came as the Brooklyn folks were bums no more. They were the champions of the world 42 years ago today.
And who will be the world champions in 1997? The final two participants set in the National League. The Atlanta Braves and the Florida Marlins. That one nearly thrown away by Key. In the American League, of course, this series 2-0 in favor of the Orioles. The Yankees and the Indians are tied at 1 game apiece as that series shifts to Jacobs Field in Cleveland.
Well, you get the feeling that Yankees-Indians series is going to be like a soap opera. It's just going to be back and forth, a lot of ebb and flow, a lot of drama. A lot of unexpected heroes and unexpected goats, for that matter.
Speaking of heroes, Eric Keith Davis, 35 years old, out of Los Angeles, taking a seat today. We brought up earlier he moved his chemotherapy treatments from Wednesdays to Fridays to fit into the postseason schedule of the Orioles. Had a big 2-run single in the opener. His wife Sherry made the trip cross country. There she is here at Camden Yards. They have 2 absolutely adorable little girls and have been married a long time, dated all the way back to their days as high schoolers in Los Angeles. Wonderful story here in the Baltimore newspaper. The front page, not the sports section, but local reporter followed Eric Davis through his entire day yesterday in his chemotherapy treatment at a nearby hospital. Left his door open while the IV was inserted and signed autographs and greeted all the other patients who were battling through that deadly disease of cancer. It was a very moving piece today.
A very good support system, not only for Eric Davis, but for others who are battling cancer. I saw that story in the paper, Tommy. The young lady said, if you can deal with this, I can deal with this. You know, making battlers out of all of them.
1-1 on Roberto Kelly, who knocked in the only run of the game back in the third with a double to left. And that gets away from Hoyles, and advancing on to second is Amaral. He might go to third and slams on the brakes about a third of the way there. Hoyles very slow trotting back to the ball.
And Amaral not really going 100% into second base. You can't really assume anything in this game of baseball. Jimmy Key delivers the pitch down low. Hoyles thinks he's in good position to block it, but it squirts underneath the glove, rolls slowly to the backstop. Hoyles chases it slowly, but Amaral was running slowly to second base. After he got to second, he realized he may have had an opportunity to go to third, but by that time it was too late.
Scored a wild pitch against Jimmy Key. Amaral in scoring position at second with only 1 out. And 2 balls and a strikes to Roberto Kelly, who has 2 hits in the game. Hit down the right field line, a long run for Hammond. makes the catch in fair ground, and Amaral will stay put at second base. 2 down in the inning.
Well, we'll never know for sure, but if Rich Amaral would have gone hard on this play, this is the wild pitch that gets away. You'll see he starts hard to second base and then slows up right there, hits the bag, and then realizes he may have had a chance to go to third. That fly ball to right field by Roberto Kelly could have possibly been a sacrifice fly and scored another run for the Mariners.
And that was real speed, that replay. No slow motion involved there.
Yeah, there's really no reason not to run hard from one base to the next base because, as I said, you never know what's going on behind you. He starts hard and then slows down right here, breaks it down, blew a bubble, hit second base. By then it's too late to try to advance to third.
Well, now it's Ken Griffey Jr. 0 for 2 in the game, is flying to left field, struck out in the third inning, 1 for 9 in the series with 1 run batted in. 2 away with Amaral at second. And it's inside and low to Jr., ball 1.
Now, throughout the regular season, you may look at this matchup and say that he's going to pitch Jr. carefully, but with Edgar Martinez waiting in the on-deck circle and the fact that Jimmy Key has been able to handle Jr. so far in this ball game, you got to believe he's going to go right after him.
He's fallen behind, 2 balls and no strikes. Very dangerous count now for Jimmy Key. Back up through the middle, into right center field, a base hit. So Griffey Jr. delivers as Amaral scores, and Seattle now leads 2-0. Fell behind 2-0, and Jr. rips one for a base hit.
And Jimmy Key really played right into Jr.'s strength right there. Threw him a pitch out over the plate that he could extend his arms on. Even though he didn't get it in the air and drive it hard into the outfield, he does hit a hard ground ball up the middle. And the book on Jr. is to jam him inside, throw him soft stuff away. You try to throw him hard stuff away, and you're playing right into his strength. Jr. finally gets a pitch he likes, knows what to do with it.
And now Davey Johnson walking out of the Baltimore dugout. He's going to make a pitching change. So Key leaves in the 5th, trailing 2-0. Going to look at Karen Key, the bride of left-hander Jimmy Key. Of course, Jimmy had to miss the All-Star game this season because he was married the day the game was played. And he leaves after 4 2/3 innings, trailing 2-0. We remind you, later tonight, Game 3 of the American League Division Series. The Yankees take on the Tribe in Cleveland. All the action will be on NBC beginning at 7:30 Eastern. Tomorrow, Game 4 between those two teams. Derek Jeter and the defending world champions clash with Davis Justice and the Indians. Don't miss this pivotal Game 4 in that series, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, right here on Fox. And now taking over in relief of Key, Alan Mills out of the Baltimore bullpen, which has been so dominant this year.
And Ray Miller pointed out the fact that Arthur Rhodes and Alan Mills and Scott Kamianicki, the long guys in the Orioles bullpen, have not been used yet. This is Mills' first appearance in the postseason this year. That they felt they were in pretty good shape and had a lot of options available should it get to that. And with Jimmy Key departing here in the 5th inning, they had to go to one of those options.
Martinez the batter, and he looks at a strike. Martinez has had very good success when facing Mills in his career. 4 hits in 11 at-bats.
Although this season he was 0 for 2 against Alan Mills with a strikeout. Got to go with the righty.
Junior, a base stealing threat at first. He had 15 during the regular year, 2 already here in the division series. They had him leading, and it got him at first. So Mills picks off Griffey to end the inning, but not before Griffey drives in a run. We head for the bottom of the 5th. 2-0 Seattle. The
1997 American League Division Series on Fox is brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By American Express, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, American Express helps you do more. By Gillette Sensor XL and the Gillette Series, Gillette, the best a man can get. And by your local McDonald's. Did somebody say McDonald's? Yep, I just did.
Nighttime creeping in on Baltimore, Maryland. A 2-0 Seattle lead after 4.5, and Fassero takes the ball to open the last of the 5th against Mike Bordick and deals a strike. Ken Griffey Sr., the father of Junior, here at the game again tonight. Was at the first 2 games in Seattle. Those two had a chance to play together. First ever father-son combination to play at the major leagues at the same time. Boy, Senior, he could play, couldn't he?
Oh, man. He was a real unsung member of that Cincinnati Reds big machine. So many superstars, and Ken Griffey Sr. just continued to put up good numbers every year.
Bordick, a fly ball into right field, and Buhner there for the first out in the 5th. Let's go back to the pickoff a moment ago of Griffey Jr.
Jr. trying to get a little running start here. Mills with a quick pickoff move. The ball beats Jr. to the bag, but he gets back ahead of the tag. Watch the tag on the back of Junior's leg after he's on the bag. But when you're leaning the wrong way and the throw beats you, it's tough to argue that, hey, the tag was late. You'll see Palmeiro makes a good throw or a good catch on the low throw. The tag comes up on the back of the right calf after the foot's on the bag. But as I said, when you're leaning the wrong way and get out there in no man's land, it's tough to argue.
Strike 1 to Brady Anderson. He has 2 of Baltimore's 3 hits against Fassero. Single to center in the first inning. Single to left in the 3rd. That was the inning Fassero appeared to have big-time problems. Single to Anderson, a double to Alomar to put runners at 2nd and 3rd with nobody out. But he fanned Baroa, got Palmeiro on a fielder's choice, cutting down Anderson at the plate. And then Ripken struck out to retire the side. Popped up, shallow left field. Rodriguez wants it, and he has it. Well, postseason baseball today. Tomorrow, America's most watched pregame show is back on the road, live from Green Bay. Then don't miss a key NFC Central battle, of course. But later tonight, it's going to be Cops and America's Most Wanted. We'll have football tomorrow. Talk more about that later. Big matchup between Green Bay and Tampa Bay. On the ground, it should be a very routine 1-2-3 inning for Fassero. And it is. He has retired the last 7. Seattle badly needs a win.
NFL Sunday. Terry Allen and the Redskins take on Ricky Waters and the Eagles.
Game coverage begins this Sunday at 1 on Fox 5.
Back in Baltimore, end of 5. 2 runs, 8 hits for Seattle. No runs, 3 hits for the Orioles. Seattle comes to bat against reliever Alan Mills to begin the 6th. It'll be Martinez, Rodriguez, and Buhner. Mills on in relief of Jimmy Key. And a 1-hopper at the shortstop, Bordick. 1 away. Now, Bobby, I guess when you have 2 players like Griffey Jr., Ripken Jr., doesn't matter if there's 5 people or 50,000. Still, the little boy will show in each of them.
Oh, yeah. You know, they're probably talking some smack out there. Cal says they never tried to pick me off because I can't run. If you weren't so fast, we wouldn't be throwing over there. A little bit of a laugh. John McLaren, the third base coach, also involved. Either that or Junior was trying to borrow some money.
Yeah, well, that should have been the other way around. Cal looking to borrow a little dough. Well, I don't think either one's struggling, though.
John McLaren was probably trying to borrow money from both of them.
No question about it.
It's great to see you able to have a little bit of fun between innings, but once it says play ball, it's time to play ball.
Rodriguez takes high, and Mills has fallen behind. 2 balls and no strikes. See the numbers on Alan Mills during the regular year. He appeared in 39 games out of the Baltimore bullpen. Rodriguez has only seen him 5 times and has 1 hit. This ball lifted into deep right field. Hammond's racing back, and it's off the wall. Not going to throw him out at second base this time, and Rodriguez in there with a sliding double. They can knock the power out of that sign out there, blinking on and off.
Well, not surprising. I'll tell you, Alex Rodriguez, of all the Mariners hitters in this ball game, really seems to have a good approach at the plate tonight. Get a look at Hammonds, goes back, realizes he has no play, backs off the wall, tries to play the carom, just misses it right there. If he was able to come up with that ball the first time, it would have been a close play at second base again. But the ball hits the webbing of his glove and squirts out as he's getting ready to turn around and make a throw, and by that time, Alex Rodriguez is in with the double.
Rodriguez now 2 hits in the game, and here's Buhner, robbed of a hit his last time up on a bouncing ball through the middle that Bordick made a sliding pickup, got to his feet, and threw him out. Strike one. Arthur Rhodes, a left-hander, now throwing in the Baltimore bullpen.
Well, that was another name that Ray Miller mentioned as an option should Jimmy Key run into trouble tonight. Mills, Rhodes, Scott Kamieniecki, 3 guys that have not been used in this series.
Rodriguez dancing around there at second. Buhner chases the fastball up, and he's behind 0-2.
Well, Jay Buhner likes that fastball up there, and the harder you throw it, the better he likes it. Doesn't always hit it, but he likes it.
Seattle trailing 2-0, 1 defeat away from elimination. And here they are in the 6th inning of Game 3, leading 2-0. 1 out, Rodriguez at second. And the 0-2, Mills to Buhner. Here it comes. Got him swinging.
Right, Mills is rushing it up there pretty good tonight. I mentioned Jay Buhner, a good high fastball hitter. Goes up just a little bit higher this time. You see Hoyle's giving a low target, but the pitch is up above the belt. Jay Buhner is not one of those hitters that's going to cut down on his swing, maybe choke up with 2 strikes. He's going to try to hit the ball over the roof with every swing he takes.
Paul Sorrento has grabbed a bat, and he is now in the on-deck circle and apparently will bat for Mike Blowers. Before he steps up there, we'd again like to thank our friends from the Blockbuster Blimp for providing us with these gorgeous aerial views of Baltimore and Camden Yards tonight. Currently flying over this event at an altitude of better than 1,000 feet. Well, Davey Johnson is going to summon the left-hander to face a left-handed batting Sorrento. We'll be right back to Camden Yards after this. Lee Elia, the Seattle hitting instructor, also the right-hand man on the bench of manager Lou Piniella. Kind enough to wear a microphone for us here today, and we just captured some of our Fox sounds of the game a moment ago. Listen in.
Where do you want Gates and what spot?
I don't want Gates at all. I'll put the Sheets in the leadoff spot.
You're going to take Richie out?
Yeah.
Hey, the question there Lee Elia asked is, where do you want Brent Gates? And Lou Piniella said, I don't want Gates at all. I want Sheets in the leadoff spot. Andy Sheets will enter the game in the leadoff spot in the lineup and play third base. Paul Sorrento would stay in and play first base. That's part of the job of the right-hand man or the bench coach. Approach the manager. You've got an idea in your mind perhaps of what should happen, and sometimes they agree, sometimes they don't agree, but at least you approach the manager with options.
Arthur Rhodes, a left-hander, on to face Paul Sorrento, who is batting in place of Mike Blowers. Rodriguez at second, 2 away, a 2-0 Seattle lead, and it's ball 1 that gets away from Hoyles. Sorrento has faced Rhodes just 2 times in his career, but has 1 hit, and that was a home run earlier this season.
Now, Rhodes throws very hard. If Sorrento works the count in his favor, that fastball that Rhodes throws does not move a lot. It's a 4-seam fastball that stays pretty straight on its way to home plate.
Fastball in the inside corner. Is the sun setting on this Seattle season? Still shining pretty brightly right now.
What a beautiful shot.
Wow. And truly One of the shining stars in all of baseball, Griffey Jr. has knocked in a run in the game today. Makes me feel like we're in Bermuda, not Baltimore.
Normally you wouldn't confuse Baltimore with Bermuda, but with a sunset
under no
like
circumstances.
With a sunset like that, why not?
2-1 pitch. And on the outside corner, strike 2 to Sorrento. Boy, they have done a wonderful job, though. They talk so much about Cleveland. This downtown here in Baltimore has turned into a lovely city. And they love their baseball. Their Orioles trail 2-0. With a runner at second, 2 down, top of the 6th inning. And Rhodes looks for the strikeout of Sorrento. The 2-2 pitch. He got it. 1 hit, 1 left. Middle of the 6th. 2-0 Seattle.
This is Chip Carey in our Hollywood studios. This day in baseball history continues. A year ago today, Albert Bell, remember he used to play for the Indians? He took advantage of Baltimore's bullpen troubles in the playoffs last year. He hits a grand slam. The Indians win the game 9-4. But, of course, Baltimore won their series 3-1. Back to Tom and Bob in Baltimore.
All right, Chip, thank you very much. Baltimore, of course, trying to get back to that American League Championship Series for a second straight year. They lead 2-0 in this series. But they trail 2-0. Here in the bottom of the 6th inning, Jeff Fassero has only allowed 3 base hits. He's fanned 2, walked 3, and Baroa to begin things. A fastball strike. Taking over now at third base, Andy Sheets in place of Mike Flowers, and Paul Sorrento remains in the game at first.
Defensively, that gives Lou Piniella a little better defensive ball club out there. Sorrento has been the regular first baseman throughout much of the season. Sheets, a utility infielder that handles his position very well.
Part of the order, Baroa, Palmeiro, and Ripken. 3-1 to Geronimo Baroa. Baroa is walked. He struck out with runners at second and third and nobody out back in the 3rd inning. 3-1 pitch. Hit hard, but Rodriguez backhands. Plants, throws, got it.
Well, as a hitter, that's all you can do is try to work the count in your favor, sit on a pitch and hit it hard somewhere. Unfortunately, he hits it right at Alex Rodriguez. A nice backhanded play, the strong throw across the infield. And the new first baseman, Paul Sorrento, on the receiving end.
And lo and behold, Jeff Fassero has now retired the last 10 batters he's faced. Again, Fassero, this is his first taste of the postseason. And he's 34 years old. Fastball, strike 1 on the outside corner to Palmeiro. Fassero was way on his way back in 1994. Montreal arguably had the best team in all of baseball. They had the best record in all of baseball when the strike hit. And then Montreal, due to financial difficulty, had to trade away all their great stars. They had Fassero, they had Kenny Hill, Moises Alou, along with Marquise Grissom and Larry Walker. All of those players have been to the postseason. Line hard into left and well hit. But at the warning track, Kelly reaches up to make the play.
The third baseman, Cal Ripken.
The ball carries very well here. Oriole Park at Camden Yards, especially to left center field. Palmeiro drives Kelly all the way back to the fence. Had the fans on their feet momentarily. Every time it seems like these fans here are getting involved in the game, trying to raise the level a little bit. Fassero shuts down the offense just as quickly.
He's retired the last 11. And Ripken looks at a fastball strike. Well, we brought you the interview, a little bit of it we had earlier with Dan Wilson. He told us if Fassero can get through the first inning, maybe the second inning, he'll find a groove and find a way to lock in. But, Bobby, you brought it up earlier. Fassero now has raced by the 100 pitch mark. And we're only in the 6th inning.
It doesn't matter. He's going to throw till his left arm flies off to the backstop tonight.
Come on. Ripken thought about it, held back, 2 balls and a strike. Nardi Contreras keeping an eye on his left-hander. Nardi, the Seattle pitching coach. Not been easy for him watching the bullpen blow so many games this season. 27 blown saves on the year for Seattle. And conversely, we've talked so much about Baltimore's bullpen. The Orioles have blown a grand total of 10 saves all year. Two and two to Ripken.
You know, really the surprising thing about this streak of 11 consecutive hitters retired by Fassero is the fact that 2 batters he struck out. 4 batters have hit the ball on the ground, which is what you would expect from Jeff Fassero, but 5 batters have flied out either to the outfield or the infield. So not the typical ground ball outing we're used to seeing from Jeff Fassero, but the results are good nonetheless.
Ripken gone looking, a fastball in the inside corner. Fassero, when his team needs him most, holds on to a 2-0 lead through 6. We're back at Camden Yards in Baltimore. Seattle trying to live to play at least one more day. Trailing in this series 2-0, but they lead 2-0 at the end of 6. Arthur Rhodes, a third pitcher used tonight by manager Davey Johnson. Jimmy Key went the first 4 2/3, allowed 8 hits and 2 runs. He didn't walk anybody and fanned 4. Alan Mills of 1 hit, shutout baseball in his only inning of work. 1-1 on Wilson. 0 for 2 today. 0 for 9 in the series. The big story so far, that man right there, Jeff Fassero. One and two.
A little better approach that time from Dan Wilson. He swung right through a fastball down the heart of the plate, and Dan Wilson is not a guy that usually swings and misses very much. It works to his disadvantage many times, but normally when Dan Wilson swings the bat, he makes some kind of contact with the ball. Swung right through the first fastball down the heart of the plate, but the second pitch, a little bit better approach.
He's out of there on strikes. Second time today. 7th time for Wilson in the series. Hey, tune in to Game 4 of the American League Championship Series for the Gillette $1 Million Strike Zone Challenge, where one fan will have the opportunity to throw a strike for 1 million bones. Might we see Bob Brenly on the mound in Game 4?
That wouldn't be fair.
You think you could do it?
Oh, I know I could do it.
Oh, come on.
Me?
Come
Man,
on.
I was a machine throwing batting practice. A machine.
Well, they made you take the arc out of it.
Yeah, but there's no rule about
you're right.
having arc in it when you win the $1 million bones.
You can underhand it up there. Joey Cora looks at ball 1. Well, we may have to do that in your backyard. We don't live too far from one another out in Arizona. You have the big suite set up out back, so maybe we'll have our own challenge of the strike zone and each throw up a little dough.
Whenever you're ready.
Fair enough. Swung on and fouled out of play. 1-1.
Yeah, I want to see you grab a bat and a helmet. And, you know, I've heard about this left-handed stroke of yours from your days in high school. Huh?
Hammer City, pal.
Oh, yeah.
Bring it on. I'm like my buddy Vinny Castilla of the Rockies. Can't throw it hard enough. 1 ball and 1 strike on Cora. Plenty hard enough right there from Rhodes. He threw it right by the Seattle second baseman.
Yeah, Rhodes has got such a good fastball. When it's up high in the zone like that, it's a tough pitch to get on top of.
Get a look at all the games on the NFL on Fox tomorrow. Have game 4 of that divisional series between the Yankees and the Indians tomorrow night. The 1-2 to Cora. Lifted to right. Alomar will give way to Hammonds. 2 down. Well, coming up later tonight right here on Fox, trying to ditch cops on a bike. Well, you better pedal a little faster, pal. It's an all-new Cops. And then her husband killed someone, but will she tell? Find out on America's Most Wanted. It all starts tonight, 8 Eastern, 7 Central on Fox.
That was a great open field tackle right there. I thought that was a football promo.
Got to make the play.
Wow.
2 down, nobody on in the Seattle 7th. Mariners in front 2-0. And here's Sheets, who bats for the first time. And he takes inside for a ball. See what Sheets was able to do during the regular year. 4 home runs, 9 batted in. 1-1.
We mentioned you just are going to have a hard time hitting Arthur Rhodes if you chase that high fastball. You saw Joey Cora lift that fly ball to right field on a fastball up around the letters. Just an impossible pitch to get on top of unless you're Vinny Castillo or Tom Brenneman.
1 ball, 1 strike pitch. And it's a strike on the outside edge.
Little reminders that hitting coaches can give his team as they go to the plate. You know, against certain pitchers, you want to make them get the ball down. Make them get the ball down. Other pitchers that feature a sinker or a changeup down low, you want to make them get the ball up. Well, Arthur Rhodes is definitely a guy you want to make him get the ball down.
They're up in Baltimore. Still 1-2.
Against certain pitchers, you make him throw strikes. You know, a lot of guys like John Franco, the great closer for the Mets, he doesn't throw strikes unless you force him to. If you'll chase pitches out of the zone, he won't throw you a strike.
And they forced Johnson to throw strikes in the opener of this series.
You have to have a game plan against a pitcher.
Inning over. Rhodes mows him down in order. Still 2-0 with Surhoff leading things off in the last of the 7th. 2-0 ball game. Seattle in front of the Orioles. Home half of the 7th inning. Jeff Fassero has shut out Baltimore on 3 base hits. They haven't had a hit since a single by Anderson to begin the 3rd. It was followed by a double from Alomar. He has since retired 12 in a row. He faces B.J. Surhoff. And we asked B.J. what to look for from Jeff Fassero coming into game 3 of this series.
His split's a real tough ball to lay off, and it's a big pitch for him. And hopefully you can get ahead and you count on him, and where you can get something up in the zone. Hey, you're going to have to get the ball up, because the ball coming in and starting at your knees is just going to disappear. And if you swing a split, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Well, there's B.J. Surhoff's game plan against Jeff Fassero. Hopefully get ahead in the count, make him get the ball up. Chase that sinker and split and slide her down low in the strike zone. You're going to get yourself in a lot of trouble.
Well, he's behind 0-2. It'll stay there.
You know, you can go into the game with the greatest game plan in the world. That doesn't make it any easier. This is the toughest single thing to do in the world of sports, is to hit a baseball, especially when you're facing a guy like Fassero who's got so many weapons to use against you. A good defense playing behind him. You can go in with a great game plan, hit the ball hard, and still trot back to the dugout.
The 0-2. Tried that splitter. It's in the dirt.
Lay off those pitches down low in the zone. Tough to do with 2 strikes because he always plays with the bottom of that strike zone. The pitch is either just above the knees, just below the knees. The movement is more often than not towards the ground. Trying to get those ground balls.
The 1-2 pitch to Surhoff. Lifted to straightaway center field. Junior comes in and makes the play. Time for our Aflac trivia question. In this series, the Orioles have won each of the first 2 games by identical counts of 9-3. Has any postseason series ever had 3 consecutive games with the same score? So we'll give you a moment or two to think about that. This one would have to change in a hurry to do that.
Well, both these teams are certainly capable of doing that. They have those kind of offenses, but the way Jeff Fassero has settled in since the 3rd inning, you got to believe it's going to be tough for the Orioles to put up 9 runs.
They take 9 hits. They only have 3 of those. And Fassero's retired 13 in a row. Hammond's 0 for 2. And that's low, a ball, a strike.
And just briefly getting back to B.J. Surhoff. He got a pitch up, which was what he was looking for. A breaking ball that hung up over the middle of the plate. It hits it into center field, and that's where fly balls go to die when Junior's out there.
Two and 1. Not a body moving in that Seattle bullpen. They have been hammered in the first 2 games of this series. And for the first time, Seattle has a starter pitching into the 6th, now the 7th. Popped up on the right side, and that'll drift into the seats.
Well, that's a welcome sight for Lou Piniella, the security guard, the only guy close to the pitcher's mound out there. John Marzano, the backup catcher, getting loose just in case, but the pitchers are all very comfortably seated in the bullpen. And Nardi Contreras, the pitching coach, as well hopes it stays that way. You know, when you are struggling with your bullpen, it's easy to constantly point the fingers at them saying they're not getting it done, they're not getting it done, but every now and then you need one of your starters to step up, take the ball, and go out there and give you a complete game. Take the pressure off the bullpen.
2-2 to Hammonds. High fly ball into left center field. Roberto Kelly waits. 2 down. Well, we gave you our Aflac trivia question. Has any postseason series ever had 3 consecutive games with the same score? There you have it in 1974, although notice the A's took 2, the Dodgers have the other. 3-2 counts. Tonight, the largest crowd ever to witness a game at Camden Yards, 49,137. And a half, we understand. As it's strike 1 on Hoyles. There's the half.
Well, when you don't take up a seat, you don't need a ticket. There ain't no better seat in the world than Mom's lap anyway.
Oh, what a darling little youngster there. Getting a first taste of postseason baseball.
It looked like he was getting a taste of his fist.
Yes, it did.
Everything is in his mouth.
1-1 to Chris Hoyles. And now 2-1. Fassero getting his first taste of the postseason. And he's been impressive. He's retired 14 in a row and has a 3-hit shutout with 2 away in the bottom of the 7th. 2-2. Break-even pitch. Just missed a little bit low. The Orioles missed a chance in the opening inning. They had the bases loaded. But Surhoff hit one back off the foot of Fassero. It died at the base of the pitching mound. Fassero found it in time, threw him out in a close play at first. Orioles left 2 on in the 3rd. They've not had a base runner since. High drive. Straight away center, but room for Griffey. And that is that. 15 in a row retired by Fassero. Griffey Jr. will bat in the 8th, 2-0 Seattle. 2-0 ball game at the end of 7. Seattle in front 2-0. Ken Griffey Sr. here in attendance tonight, watching his son Junior, who has knocked in a run. There you see Ken Sr. Played on 2 World Series champions with Cincinnati, 75 and 76. His son is hoping to get to his first World Series. Kelly fouls it away. He's down a strike. And despite all the great moments in Senior's career, he'll tell you to this very day, the most special day of his professional life came on the final day of August in 1990, when both father and son appeared in the same lineup. Low to Kelly, a ball, a strike.
Well, one of the things I most vividly remember about Ken Griffey Sr., along with Joe Morgan, they played together on those great Reds teams, was the explosive first step at first base. It seemed like both of those guys were able to be running at top speed after their first couple steps off the bag.
Boy, could you imagine, they talk about so many of the great players today, and truly there are Hall of Famers littered all over baseball, future Hall of Famers, but you talk about team payroll. How in the world would you afford just the 8 position players on that Cincinnati team now that Junior grew up watching? They were the best at their position just about everywhere.
You'd have to build a real big stadium and sell it out every day. And even then, you'd have problems paying those guys.
Kelly's had a big game. That one fouled back out of play. Cal Ripken Jr., of course, played for his father, not only as a coach with the Orioles, but later a manager. 1-2 on Kelly, who's 2 of 3 with an RBI. And that one fouled off. We'll turn back the clock to that 1990
we got to go to work.
Season. Senior and Junior came together. And how about this, doing this to Dad?
Oh, that's one way to overshadow your father, but Senior takes it with a smile.
Yeah, okay.
You may have heard they said it's time to go to work. And when you talk to the Griffeys about going to work, that had something to do with a batting cage. You can be pretty sure about it.
The 1-2 on Kelly. Popped up. Ripken in foul ground, 1 away. The Baltimore bullpen, Bobby, according to form tonight. Alan Mills, 1 inning, 1 hit, no runs. And Rhodes is retired. Now all 5 batters he's faced.
Well, we talked a lot about the big 3, Lucina, Erickson, and Jimmy Key for the Orioles early in the season. We know they've got an explosive offense that's capable of putting up a lot of runs in a hurry, but the one constant this year for them has been that bullpen. Very deep, very well balanced. Give you a lot of different looks coming out of that bullpen, but all of them throw pretty hard.
Junior, 1 of 3, knocked in a run with a single to center in the 5th to give Seattle this 2-0 lead. Jammed with that one in a weak roller at Alomar. 2 away. While we have a moment, let's send it back to Chip in our Fox Television Center for a Miller Lite game break.
All right, Tommy, thanks a lot. October 4th of last year, 2 outs in the 9th inning. Yankees and Texas. Mariano Duncan, the game-winning RBI single off Mike Henneman, scores Rock Reigns. 3-2 the final. You'll see the Yankees tonight on NBC. We'll have them tomorrow on Fox.
And Bob Brenly will be jumping on the Big Bird tomorrow morning and making his way up to Cleveland, Ohio for that one.
Those frequent flyer miles.
Pile them up. Here's Edgar Martinez. He looks at a strike. Interesting that we saw Texas there, and we were discussing the Baltimore bullpen. There's no doubt about it, during the 90s, the bullpen becomes a huge factor in postseason play. The Nasty Boys of the Reds in 1990. Minnesota had Aguilera in 91. The Blue Jays, a combination of Tom Henke and Dwayne Ward. The Rangers in that series last year had leads in all 4 games against New York. The bullpen blew 3 of them.
That's really become a pivotal part of any ball club. If you don't have those guys that can come in and shut down the opposition after you get a lead, you're going to find yourself looking up a lot.
0-2 and fouled out of play. Looking ahead to the remainder of the postseason the next couple of days tonight on NBC, the Yankees in Cleveland game 3. Seattle at Baltimore game 4, if necessary, tomorrow 4 Eastern on ESPN. Tomorrow night here on Fox, game 4 between the Yankees and Indians. Strike 3. A perfect 8 for Rhodes. But Fassero takes the ball into the 8th, leading 2-0.
Great lawn, guaranteed.
The largest crowd in the history of Camden Yards, 49,137, trying to will their team to rally back from this 2-0 deficit. They lead this division series 2 games tonight. Fassero has retired 15 straight batters. And he misses ball 1 to Mike Bordick. A ball to strike. Fassero truly the definition of a late bloomer in his career. St. Louis let him get away. The White Sox released him. Cleveland signed him as a free agent, but Montreal took him away as a minor league free agent. And then he found himself in Montreal on the ground. And the play made by Sorrento for the first out in the 8th. Bobby, maybe the biggest play of the game. It doesn't have to happen in the 7th, 8th, or 9th. It can happen in the 1st.
Well, the Orioles are on the verge of breaking the game open. A ground ball back through the middle hits Fassero in the foot. He has no idea where the ball is. Gets some help from his teammates. Recovers in time to make the play at first base. Now, you never know when the turning point of a ball game is going to be. Pitcher may settle in after a rocky start, pitch a good game for you. He may blow up. You're never really sure what's going to happen after that point, but that certainly would have to be considered the turning point early in the game today. Bottom of the 1st inning.
Brady Anderson had 2 of Baltimore's 3 hits. Single to center in the 1st, to left in the 3rd. And it's strike 1. Fassero did not become a full-time starter in his career until 1994. He pitched out of the bullpen when, after 7 seasons in the minor leagues, he finally got a chance with the Expos. And here he is, one of the top left-handers in all of baseball. Little roller that dribbles foul. Like to remind you, tomorrow, America's most watched pregame show back on the road live from Green Bay. Then don't miss a key NFC Central battle. The 5-0 Buccaneers clash against the Packers. Other regional action as well. Coverage begins noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. Check local listings for the game and time in your area.
Those pregame guys had such a good time in Green Bay a couple weeks ago. They're going to do it again. Take their show on the road.
I don't blame them.
I know Green Bay is one of your favorite towns to visit.
One of America's greatest places. Love it.
Let's just say how you really feel about it, huh?
Love it. 0-2 to Brady Anderson. Down and away.
I'll tell you what, there's no place I'd rather be than right here tonight. What a great ball game. Great game.
Well, you've seen a couple of good ones. Now 3. First 2 games of that Yankees series. And now game 3 here tonight, where Seattle leads 2-0 in the bottom of the 8th inning. Whoa, hammered in deep right field. If it stays fair, it's gone, but a foul ball.
One of the rare mistakes that Fassero's made since back in the 3rd inning. Hangs a pitch up on the inside part of the plate to Brady Anderson. That's where his strength is. That's where his power is, from the middle of the plate in. And just a little too far out in front, hooked it down that right field line. It didn't miss by much.
Again, the 1-2 on Anderson. Broken back at Rodriguez. 2 away.
Anderson hooks this ball down the right field line. Looked like it had a chance for a moment, but he hit it so far out in front of home plate it imparted some spin on that ball, caused it to hook foul. And get a look at the swing that produced that foul ball. You could see a breaking ball that hung up in the zone. Brady hit it well out in front of home plate. When you're that far out in front of a pitch, it's very tough to keep it fair.
Well, you can't say enough of what Fassero has done tonight. Now 129 pitches, and you see a season high. 130.
That came back May 30th against the Tigers in 7 1/3 innings pitched. And he has really gotten stronger as the game has gone on. For the season, Jeff Fassero threw 3,711 pitches, the 4th highest total in the American League. So he's giving him what he's got left here.
And he has another 1, 2, 3 inning. Fassero has retired 18 consecutive batters. We go to the 9th, 2-0 Seattle. He pitches and is still in there. Look at the bullpen comparison in this series.
Well, that combined with the fact that he has just gotten better and better as this game has progressed, and no reason for Lou Piniella to get anybody loose down there tonight.
Well, a moment ago, as Arthur Rhodes was making his warm-up pitches to begin the 9th inning, all of a sudden injured, and the trainer comes out to take a look, and he's going to have to leave the game. Matthews will enter. We will step aside. As we're set to open the 9th inning here in Baltimore. And this is what took place a moment ago with left-hander Arthur Rhodes.
Yeah, he's pointing to his throwing elbow, talking to the Orioles trainer Richie Bancells. Boy, a lot of pitchers have been injured warming up this year. John Smiley broke his arm warming up before a start. 3 pitches to go before he was ready to take the mound. The other day, David Cone throwing on the side, heard a pop in his arm. And now Arthur Rhodes has to come out of the ball game after apparently injuring his throwing arm somehow.
Rhodes has a history of shoulder trouble. And he leaves in favor of Matthews.
And anytime there's an injury replacement such as this, the pitcher that's coming into the ball game has as much time as he feels necessary to get ready to start the inning. Get a look at Matthews' numbers on the season, a sinker slider type of a pitcher.
Well, game 4, should we get there tomorrow, the opening game starters will return. On 3 days rest, you see the numbers. Messina has struggled. Johnson, very impressive. Lou Piniella wants a storybook ending to this series. Get Johnson tomorrow, and then what?
Wouldn't it be a great story, though, if we can somehow pull off a little magic and win Game 3 and win Game 4, and then give the ball to young Kenny Cloud, Baltimore, in his own ballpark, in his home city, against the Orioles? That would be a truly great story.
And I wonder how Lou wants that one to end.
I don't think there's much doubt about it, as you see teams that have been able to come back from 0-2 deficits. 81 Dodgers against the Astros, the 82 Brewers against the Angels, San Diego in 84 against the Cubs, and I couldn't read fast enough to get the last one, but it has been done before.
That was Seattle, of course, against the Yankees. Division series play, the first year that came in to the equation in 1995. But it's never been done on the road. I think that's the key. So Terry Matthews, now the 4th pitcher employed by Davey Johnson, and he faces Alex Rodriguez. Rodriguez in his career 1 of 4, and the one you see right there, a home run back on August 15th. And you've liked the approach by Rodriguez tonight, Bobby.
Well, he's really shooting that ball to the opposite field with authority. Got the base hit that he drove by Hammonds in right field and then was thrown out trying to go to second, and then later came up with the double off the wall. Although that time he was whirly-burdened. Your approach changes depending on who the pitcher is on the mound and how they're going about getting you out. A-Rod, as you can see, those are his shoes. Really good approach early in the game against Jimmy Key going to the opposite field.
Fastball in the outside corner is strike. Jimmy Key had to leave after 4 2/3 innings. He allowed both Seattle runs on 8 hits, didn't walk anybody, fanned 4. Bullpen has been terrific. Mills and Rhodes combined for 3 1/3 innings of 1-hit shutout baseball. Bordick will have to hurry. Got him. We were to turn back the clock to 1995 after the Yankees won the first 2, went to 2-2, and then this. Dave Niehaus taken away.
Here comes Joy. Here is Junior to third base. They're going to wave him in. The throw to the plate will be late. The Mariners are going to play for the American League Championship. I don't believe it.
Boy, one of the most honest displays of emotion I've ever seen on a baseball field. That Mariner team just flooding out of the dugout. Junior laughing on the bottom of the pile. Tremendous excitement.
And many believe it was that series that saved baseball in the city of Seattle. By and large, playing in front of near empty crowds at the Kingdome. They won the American League West for the first time that season under manager Lou Piniella. Lost to the Indians in the American League Championship Series, and this season they drew over 3 million fans. Buhner 0 for 3. Hits this one hard into deep right center field. Hammonds looks up. Goodbye. 3-0 Seattle. Second home run of the series for Jay Buhner.
With that kind of power to the opposite field, you wonder why Jay Buhner ever tries to pull a ball. He's a big, strong man, and as he just showed right there, he can hit the ball out to any part of any ballpark. He's a much better, more consistent hitter when he does hit the ball to the opposite field, as he does right here. Gets a fastball down and in, normally a pitch that he'd try to pull and swing over the top of, but drives it 3 or 4 rows deep there in the right center field.
Well, what a big run that could be for Seattle. Rather than 2-0, it now goes to 3-0 as Buhner touches them all. Ball 1 to Sorrento. Bobby, you brought up about a game plan against a pitcher. It's amazing, this game of baseball. You come in, Key, all the postseason experience, has won so many big games in his career. Fassero's never been here before. And yet Key is the one who sits and watches for the better part of 4 innings now. And Fassero is set to go for the 9th.
Yeah, Jimmy Key really did not pitch that poorly. He gave up only 2 runs in the ball game in this high-powered Orioles offense. Normally that would be enough to keep him in the game. But Fassero has been so tough.
This one lifted into deep left center field, and the Mariners have gone back-to-back. This Baltimore crowd, what have you done for me lately? They jumped to a 2-0 lead in the series, and now they're getting booed.
Well, if there has been a whipping boy in the Orioles bullpen this year, it has been Terry Matthews. Normally the guy that comes in to mop up when the game is out of reach, either one way or the other. Serves up a couple of home run balls here, and that's going to send a lot of the fans scurrying out of Oriole Park here at Camden Yards. Paul Sorrento, good low ball hitter. We mentioned Matthews, a sinker ball pitcher. He gets one to his liking, and he goes to the opposite field.
Brought up earlier, the Mariners set a major league season record for home runs. And by and large, they had the 3 solo home runs in the opening game loss. They've gone back-to-back here in the 9th inning tonight. And you see they've done a great deal of that here in Camden Yards this season.
Well, this has always been a great hitter's ballpark. Visiting teams love to come in here. There seems to be a wind tunnel to left center field. The short porch down the line in right. Gives you a variety of targets if you're a home run hitter in this ballpark.
Well, we saw for the first time ever in postseason history 3 straight home runs. In the Yankee win over Cleveland, can the Mariners do it? First it was Buhner, then Sorrento, Dan Wilson behind Matthews at 1 and 2. He's out of there swinging.
Well, you're going to get a look. Sorrento hits this ball the opposite field, and you talk to players that play at Camden Yards for a living, and they will tell you that the ball just really seems to carry well to left center field in that area right there. Earlier in the game, the wind was slightly blowing in from that direction. Now it has turned around and is slightly blowing out to left center field. But Sorrento put a charge on that ball.
A 4-0 Mariner lead here in Game 3 of the division series. They're trying to force it to a Game 4 tomorrow. Joey Cora down a strike. Cora 0 for 3. It's been the pitching of Fassero. And Seattle with just enough offense so far. Oh and 2. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th inning, it'll be Baroa, Ripken, Palmeiro in between.
Apparently the report on Arthur Rhodes is tightness in his left arm. His status is day to day. I'm sure they will run some tests, get a more accurate diagnosis after the ball game, but doesn't appear, at least initially, to be as serious as it may have looked as he walked off the mound after throwing a warm-up pitch.
Boy, he was nasty tonight. The 0-2 to Cora. It remains right there. Tomorrow, Game 4 of the American League Division Series between the Yankees and the Indians. Pivotal game there, beginning at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, right here on Fox. Boy, a big day, sports-wise, tomorrow here on the Sports Network. NFL throughout the afternoon, then baseball tomorrow night. Again, a foul ball.
And a Game 4 starters, that New York-Cleveland series. Doc Gooden taking the mound. 5-0 record in his career versus the Indians. And Oral Hershiser is going to take the mound once again and try to reestablish his dominance in the postseason. Not a typical Hershiser performance in New York. Had a big lead early, was unable to hold on to it.
Again, the 0-2 to Joey Cora, and he takes outside. Well, maybe Jeff Fassero beginning to write his own postseason script as a big game pitcher here tonight. He has shut out the high-octane Orioles on 3 hits.
Yeah, you mentioned Fassero's first postseason start, and you look at the comparison with Jarrett Wright of the Cleveland Indians. Oh, does he have enough poise? You know, when you're a youngster, people worry, can you handle it? I'll tell you, it's just as nerve-wracking for a veteran when you go out there and take the mound with this kind of pressure.
Into left center field, Anderson playing in that way, and the inning is over. So Jeff Fassero will go to the hill in the 9th inning, looking to hang on, leading 4-0. Game 4 between the opening game starters Messina and Johnson. Messina was brilliant. Johnson shaky at best, as he's been all year long, and for that matter his entire career against Baltimore. But first things first, we have the bottom of the 9th inning to play. And again, we say thanks to our friends at the Blockbuster Blimp, providing gorgeous views of downtown Baltimore and this largest ever crowd at Camden Yards, 49,137. And this is not the way they had the story written when they came to the ballpark. They figured it's already leading 2-0. 2 big wins on the road at the Kingdome. would be able to put it away. But Lou Piniella, he sounded convincing when he told us yesterday that he felt very good about his team's chances of coming back. 3-0 on Geronimo Berroa to begin the Baltimore ninth. Jeff Fassero has retired 18 consecutive batters. And for the first time, there's activity in the Mariner bullpen. 3-0 pitch. And it's ball 4 to Berroa. That is the fourth walk of the game by Fassero, but the first since the third and second inning. And that's going to be it for Fassero. Lou Piniella comes walking out of the Mariners' third base side dugout. They have their closer, Heathcliff Slocum, ready in the bullpen. Piniella has not made the official decision yet, and now he does. So Fassero leaves with a 3-hit shutout. He retired the last 18 until the walk. Now he needs help. Jeff Fassero walks Geronimo Berroa on 4 pitches to begin the 9th inning. And you see the numbers on Fassero. 8+ frames, allowed 3 hits. No runs thus far. The man at first, Berroa, his responsibility. He walked 4, fanned 3. And he has a 4-0 lead, but now gives way to Heathcliff Slocum out of the bullpen. Slocum came over from Boston when Lou Piniella had seen enough of Charlton and Ayala trying to close things out. And you see he lost 9 games with an earned run average over 5. He saved a total of 17. He'll be facing Palmeiro. Ripken waits on deck. And then it would be Surhoff. A 4-0 Mariner lead, bottom of the 9th inning. And it's ball 1. The Mariners could have easily had the best record in all of baseball this season with any bullpen at all. And there is a strike. They blew more than 25 saves this season. So even if they cash in on half of those, they win over 100 games. Line into right, base hit Palmeiro. Berroa moves to second. So the Orioles a batter away from bringing the tying run to the plate. And take a look at that. The Orioles, when leading after 6, lost only 6 times. The Mariners 17 times. Bob Brenly making his way down to the dugout for post-game interviews. 27 blown saves Lou Piniella watched this season. And now trouble a brewing in the Baltimore 9th inning. Trailing 4-0. Here's Ripken. And Slocum deals a strike. Ripken has seen Slocum 10 times and has 2 hits against him in his career. Mike Timlin begins to throw in the Seattle bullpen. A walk to Berroa, a hit by Palmeiro, nobody out. 2 low, and it's a ball, a strike. The left-hander Charlton joining Timlin now. And Lou Piniella's been down this road so many times before. Fassero walked Berroa to begin the 9th. Slocum allowed a single to Palmeiro, and now it's 2-1 on Ripken, and time is called on the field. Again, Bob Brenly has made his way down to the dugout, and hopefully, time permitting, we'll be bringing you some of the post-game comments. It could be a Baltimore rally to move on to the American League Championship Series. It could be a Seattle win to force Game 4 tomorrow. 3-1 to Ripken. Like a Dalmatian on a fire truck. Lou Piniella has taken this ride before. 3-1 to Ripken with 2 on and nobody out. Seattle leads 4-0. And there is a strike. Full count to Ripken. Crowd will ooh and ah with every pitch. And the majority are standing here at Camden Yards. Fassero simply brilliant. Will he get the win or another blown save? Wilson going to the mound. We asked him, how do you deal with this bullpen this year?
The tougher part for me is to know when to be positive and know when to go out there and maybe rile them up a little bit and get them going. And these guys have, to their credit, have really worked hard all year. They've tried to make adjustments throughout the year and have really worked on their pitches. And as long as the guys are doing that and working hard, there's not a lot of things you can say to them other than just trying to pump them up and give them confidence out there, tell them that we know you can do it, you know you can do it, and let's just go out here and do it.
Well, he's hoping Slocum can do it tonight. 3-2 pitch, and it's popped up. Right side of the Mariner infield, and putting it away, Sorrento. 1 down in the inning, and the Mariners 2 outs away from going to Game 4 tomorrow. Randy Johnson wants a chance to redeem himself. He lost the opener, lasting only 5 innings. He walked more batters than he struck out. You couldn't ask for anything more from that man. Springfield, Illinois native Jeff Fassero, 8 innings of 3-hit shutout baseball. Retired 18 in a row until the walk to Baroa to open the ninth. And here's Surhoff, 2 of 5 in his career against Slocum. And it's ball 1 low. Surhoff walked in the first inning, struck out swinging against the left-hander Fassero in the third, looking in the sixth. Baroa at second, Palmero at first, 1 out. Seattle leads 4-0 in the ninth. Shows the button, that misses. 2 balls and no strikes. Hammonds would be next. Surhoff during the regular year hit 18 home runs. He's knocked in 2 in the postseason. And there's a fastball strike. Well, the debate rages on. Seattle, of course, made the highly controversial deal sending away future star Jose Cruz Jr. to bring over Timlin and Spoljaric. They brought him over for the postseason and moments like these. That one chopped foul wide of first. Timlin and Spoljaric have had their chances in this series already, and they have failed miserably. And after Charlton and Ayala did the same thing during the regular year, they decided to make that deal with Toronto and then another deal with Boston to bring over Slocum. And now Wilson will visit the mound before this 2-2 pitch to Surhoff. Well, you wonder about a Seattle win. What would it mean to the momentum of this series outside of just a 4th game and 1 win? They would still be on the proverbial brink of elimination. But how about their chances with Randy Johnson again tomorrow against Mussina? We'll find out shortly. Swinging a foul tip in and out of the glove of Dan Wilson. Of course, the last time we saw a swing and a foul tip that Wilson couldn't hang on to, Alomar drilled the next pitch to knock in a couple of runs. Eric Davis given the game off. Underwent chemotherapy treatment yesterday. Still a little weak today. Mariners lead 4-0. 2 on, 1 out, bottom of the ninth. And Surhoff wants time. Everyone sitting on the edge of their seats in that Oriole dugout. Chopped down to first. Soretto makes the play. He'll take it himself. He goes to the bag. And Seattle 1 out away now from getting a Game 3 victory. Heathcliff Slocum knows what it means to overcome adversity in his life. His wife came down with cancer 3 years ago, passed away, leaving a family behind. He has raised his children on his own. He's taken all kinds of heat from the media in Seattle since coming over from Boston. He can win a few friends tonight. And it's ball one down low to Jeffrey Hammonds. Fassero would get the win if Seattle can hang on. Johnson would get the ball tomorrow. Drilled down the left field line, and that is a fair ball to the wall. 2 runs will score. Hammonds into second to make it a 4-2 game, and the tying run will come to the plate. Close the book on Fassero. He allows 2 runs over 8+ innings. He left, or rather charged him with one of those runs, I apologize. The other so far charged to Slocum. Chris Hoyles announced as the hitter, and now he's being called back from the batter's box. And Harold Baines, a Maryland native, has a bat in hand, and he's going to pinch it for Hoyles. Now the question becomes, does Lou Piniella dare to bring in the left-hander Norm Charlton? If there is one knock on Piniella, it's that he is loyal to a fault. And Charlton has been his main man so many, many times. Back to his Cincinnati days in 1990. Brought him over in 95. He was terrific, but has really struggled this year, and apparently they're going to stay with Slocum. Now Harold Baines in his career against Slocum has been mighty tough. 4 of 7, including a home run. They're not worried about that. Slocum will stay in the game. Strike 1 to Baines. Baines, the tying run. He has homered once in the series. Has 2 hits in 4 at-bats with an RBI. Eric Davis now beginning to get loose in that Baltimore dugout. The 0-1. High fly ball, and this should do it. Rodriguez underneath and puts it away, and Seattle puts Baltimore away. Jeff Fassero, a spectacular outing for Lou Piniella, and the Mariners win it by a final count of 4-2. This series now 2 games to 1 in favor of the Orioles. They will go to Game 4 tomorrow. So it'll be Randy Johnson against Mike Mussina. 4-2 our final. Senior coordinating producer John Filippelli. Today's game produced by Michael Weissman, directed by Jimmy Lynch. The senior producer of Fox Sports is Bill Brown. Executive producers David Hill and Ed Gorin. And special thanks on our crew to Craig Marlowe, technical director Scott McQuaid, our broadcast assistant John Walsh, and our associate director Greg Costa. Our Chevrolet truck player of the game, Jeff Fassero. At one point retired 18 consecutive batters, allowed 3 hits and a run in 8+ innings. Seattle did it in 95. But they won 3 in a row over the Yankees at the Kingdome. They came into this series trailing 2-0 against Baltimore. Can they win the next 2 and send on to the American League Championship Series? For Bob Brenly, I'm Tom Brenneman saying so long from Baltimore. What a game.